Eagles. Eagles.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. As the playoffs have arrived, it's Football Friday. J-Mac, how you doing this morning, my friend? Just a couple days out here from where the real fun begins in the NFL season.
We're almost there. So Football Friday playoffs are here. I think it's a good matchup. I think it's a good opportunity not only to advance, but get some confidence while doing it because just of how banged up San Francisco is. They got some good news. Trent Williams practiced yesterday. Going to play, which I expected. Don't know if he's going to be 100%, but that linebacker situation, that's the one to keep an eye on because now it looks even more likely that it's going to be Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wardlow, who've got a total of like 90 defensive snaps on the season. So I've been bringing up very reminiscent of Miami a couple years ago when Vic Fangio was down there, and they had to bring people off the street at edge rusher because they suffered injuries late. And I remember Doug Peterson back in the day saying, it's not injury. Injuries are big, obviously, but when you have multiple injuries at the same position, that is devastating. And that's what's happened because obviously Bethune is the latest to go out. Tatum Bethune, who was Fred Warner's top backup. So you lose the best linebacker in football, number one. That's bad enough. Then you lose the backup who was okay. And now you're down to guys who are either off the street or didn't play at all. So going to be a lot of questions for the Eagles to answer if they lose this one.
It's going to be interesting, John. We'll see what ends up happening in that game. Just gave the update there for the 49ers. Obviously, a lot of injuries. Where are the Eagles, man? The Eagles look like they're healthy again, John, in the postseason for this team, man.
Yep. Pretty amazing. I think people dislike talking about intangible things because there's nothing tangible about them. You can't point to any one thing, but you look at these two teams, one's always healthy and one's always banged up. It's been that way, and Kyle Shanahan's getting some crap in San Francisco for that exact reason. I don't know what the Eagles are doing. I know they think what they're doing works. But it's been pretty amazing run from a health perspective for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you think that worm is going to turn, but it hasn't turned yet.
Nope, hasn't turned yet. Obviously something they're doing right, John. That's too much luck to just be only luck, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I think really the only, I don't know how you prevent injuries, but the only way, don't play guys. That's number one. But I mean, guys have gotten injured in practice, obviously less likely. Guys can get injured in their personal life. I think there's something to the rehab aspect, getting guys back. I think you can increase that if you have a good training staff and a good nutritional staff and all that stuff. But it's been, I'll just leave it at that. It's been an amazing run. Help from a health perspective for the Philadelphia Eagles, who again will have 21 of 22 projected starters. But the 22nd is a good example. When you fracture your ankle, you fracture your ankle. I don't know how you prevent that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
So part of it is luck, but they've had an extended streak of luck from that perspective.
No doubt about it. Yeah, Trent Williams did return for the 49ers. Ricky Pearsall still out, so we're going to see who plays over there. Obviously, the return of Trent Williams is big for that team, especially when they have the amount of injuries that they do, and they need to win the game offensively. I think that's fair to say. Looking at their defense, John, do you feel like the Eagles' offense will look like it has this year? Do you think they'll turn it up to another gear? I mean, we talk about this 49ers defense being depleted. I did a hit last night on a show, and there was a couple Eagle fans on the show, a neutral host, and a Steeler fan. And the Steeler fan just ripping into every Eagle. You idiot Eagle fans. You guys are falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Your offense sucks. You're not going anywhere. And I'm like, maybe people, I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see what Johnny Mac thinks. Do you feel like the offense will take it to a new gear, John, here in the postseason? I think everybody, like you said yesterday on the show, I think people that's kind of built in maybe a little bit with some people's expectation that they just take it to a new notch because of kind of their pedigree and what they've accomplished. I feel similarly, maybe wrongfully. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't think they're taking it to a new level, but I don't think they took it to a new level last year. I think it's all perception. I think, when you're, if we use the Super Bowl as an example, when you hold the other team down to 8 offensive drives, not past the 50 yards, you get a pick 6, you're 24-9. I mean, it's easy to play offense. Same thing with Washington as you blow a team out. Wasn't a ton of passing in that game. People look at the points and say, wow, they really amped it up.
Yeah.
And not really. Well, it was better, certainly, than Green Bay and the LA Rams, but they play the style they play that we've talked about, and that's not changing. So, no, I don't think they're going to be explosive, but with them, the word is efficiency, and that's the word everybody should be focused on. When they're efficient, the perception is they're really good. When they're not efficient, the perception is they're really bad. The truth is they're not as bad as people think they are, and they're never as good as people think they are. That's the truth. So the efficiency is the key part, and to me, it's about the running game, and can they get the running game up to a level? I'm not looking for last year. I'm looking for Miles Sanders level.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm looking for DeAndre Swift level. There's no reason they shouldn't be at that level. And if they're at that level, I think they're going to be fine.
We'll see what ends up happening in this one. John, how do you take advantage? I mean, it's simple, but let's just give it out there. How do you take advantage when you have a team that's this depleted at one position, being linebacker, and you're this Eagles offense? What's Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts cooking up this weekend to plan on the offensive attack?
Well, you got to be careful. You can't just say, oh, they have no linebackers, so let's pepper the middle of the field. You don't do that typically. And you don't have Christian McCaffrey to do that, or even George Kittle. So you got to be careful. You just play your normal game and it'll take care of itself, because they're just not starting level players in the NFL. From that standpoint, the defense as a whole, look, it's the worst defense of the playoff defenses. I don't think there's any question about it. We talk about Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. They also lost Michael Williams, who was their 11th overall pick. Every number is awful. Yards per play, 24th, EPA, 24th, success rate, 30th. They stink. They stink on ice. They have 20 sacks. They don't rush the passer. The only way you lose this game is if you get outscored. And that means they're going to have to score 30 plus points, and you can't keep up. So which the offense is very good. Is that capable of scoring that much against this defense? I don't think so, but it's the NFL. You never know. I like the Eagles' chances. I'll tell you that. Man, when you can't rush the passer, I mean, it's just misery in the NFL from a defensive perspective. And they can't rush the passer. And there's nothing they can do to rush the passer.
No, and this is look, the Eagles offense. This defense is ripe to get, as you've been pointing out all week, John, ripe to get taken advantage of. Let's see what the Eagles offense can do. I mean, come on, they got to go belt to ass on the offensive side of the ball this week. And this defense is too bad. I'm looking for a better performance.
They got to win 13-12, 13 to
I'll be
10.
fine with that. I'll be fine.
They got to win. All that belt to ass nonsense is for people, is for fans.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying specifically this defense is so depleted. If you're a playoff team and you want to go to the Super Bowl, I mean, you take advantage of opponents like this. I mean, come on, that defense they don't have a defense.
Well, they might go belt to ass and they might win 40-14. And that's not going to translate either. And then people are going to be all hyped up. Well, look at what they did against San Francisco. That's not going to fucking translate.
Yeah, I know. He's got to bring me back to earth. All right, good stuff. I got to give a shout. All right, let's give a shout to Miami and Big Sills for the big UW last night. John, did you catch any of that game? That was a hell of a football game, man.
Ironically, I caught most of the first half, and then I fell asleep, and then I didn't see it. So I didn't see the exciting parts.
Yeah, the end was great.
So I didn't see the ending. I was rooting for Ole Miss, nothing to do with Sills. I just wanted them to stick it to Lane Kiffin. So, a little bit disappointed that they didn't take it the rest of the way. But Miami's a good story. Obviously, saw Ray Lewis down there, and who else came out? Oh, Edgerrin James. Edgerrin James came out for the coin toss. I think it was Eli Manning, Patrick Willis. Big Vic Fangio guy, Patrick Willis, for Ole Miss. So, yeah, I'm glad it was a good game. But was rooting for Ole Miss. That would have been a great story. But, it is what it is.
No, it is what it is, and they didn't get the job done. Good win for Miami. I got to tip the cap to Carson Beck. I was hard on him this week. I told Sills, I don't know, man. I don't trust your quarterback. He had a good game, man. He had a good game, managed the game well, made plays when it counted, and led them on They had 4 drives in that game, John, of 13 or more plays, or 4 of 14 or more. They had 88 plays on offense in that game.
Yeah, when defenses aren't that good at the college level, and
I know, but dude, that's still extreme.
Yeah. Well, when you take the lead late, and I don't know when Miami got the ball back, but it's almost like, well, you scored too early, and that's sort of what happened.
Yeah, they scored with about 3 minutes left. They took the lead.
Yeah, so I don't know. They got to figure out something defensively. They haven't caught up like the NFL's caught up defensively. They haven't caught up defensively in college football. That's for sure.
Yeah, agreed 100%. All right, John, big game this weekend. We're going to look at some of the ins and outs, some of the keys to the game. We'll look at some key matchups in the football game. We gave you the injury update and everything there. And then we'll also talk to Les Bowen in hour number 2. Looking forward to talking to Les and seeing what he thinks of this team going into the playoffs. A lot of obviously conversation around this team with the, I guess it was would you call it a controversial year just in terms of the way they executed, or I don't know. Everybody seems to have an opinion on this team, which people normally do.
Yeah,
but
I don't
the
think
opinions seem to be stronger one way or the other based on the output that they had this year.
I don't think it's much different. Everybody, I mean, people were all over that. Like I said, people were all over this team last year, and just for whatever reason, because they won, everybody forgot about it. It's the way it happens. The same thing will happen this year if they win. Everybody will forget about it. You got to recede to your hole. If they win, you can't fire the offensive coordinator, so you got to recede to the hole and just forget about it and hope it gets better next year. Not from the Eagles' perspective, obviously they're trying, but for the people that want the offensive coordinator fired, I think it's always, it's always this way in Philadelphia. Part of the gig. Nick Sirianni said that earlier this week. When asked if he's confident in Kevin, he basically said, it's part of it, and he handles it well. You're just going to get, unless you got the number one offense, unless you got a Vic Fangio style defense, you're going to get a lot of shit in Philadelphia.
Yeah, let's see what ends up happening this weekend. Going back to that Eagles offense, all right. If anybody is black-pilled on the offense, and some of you are, I mean, I see some people in here. Curtis, I don't know if you're in here yet. I know you're black-pilled on the. He's like, Zander, I don't know where you're getting your optimism from. This offense sucks, but this is the reality of this 49ers defense right now, John. They can't rush the passer. They got no linebackers. I read a Jimmy Kempski article the other day. He said their last game was one of the worst tackling performances, not only for them individually as a team, but across the entire league with how many missed tackles that they had. Their corners are not good matchups for the receivers, and the Eagles are much more well-rested. I mean, feels like the Eagles offense is going to be able to find some things in this game, J-Mac.
Yeah. Well, again, I wouldn't go too far because of the style of they play.
Can they put up 24?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I need. That's what I think will get the job done.
Oh, yeah. Of course they can put up 24. The issue becomes, what do people want? And people always want something else than what they have. And this is not a high octane offense. I don't know, whatever word you like to use. I like to use high volume, high octane, whatever you want to use. They're going to try to run the football.
Do they have a bag of tricks that they haven't tapped into yet pre-playoffs? Does that exist, or is that fairy tale land?
What? They're going to run a flea
proverbial bag of tricks. When the playoffs come, John, you dig a little deeper into the bag, as they say. Does that happen at all, or is that hype and hoopla?
No, nobody runs out. I mean, you can go from people assume Ben Johnson's the most creative, so we'll use Ben Johnson. All that shit's already in it. You don't bring out something having practice all year for the playoffs. It's the exact opposite. By the playoffs, you kind of figure out what do we do well, what can we do, what can't we do. All this stuff is, they may never use it in the game, but like Philly special is not the first time they ran the Philly special in the Super Bowl. They did it in practice for a number of weeks. You heard guys talk about, we thought we were going to use it against Minnesota. And then they started blowing them out. Even a couple games before that, and they pulled it out when they pulled it out. No, you don't. There's no extra set of. It's the exact opposite. It's you should know what you're good at by this time of the season. You should know what you're bad at. And I saw some people complaining about Miami when they lost, because evidently they threw out a flea flicker in a bad situation. I didn't see it. Maybe you saw it. And they were killing the coach there, but he came back to win. I always bring up Detroit last season against Washington. They were still in that game till they put the ball in the hands of Jameson Williams. Be careful what you wish for, my friends. In the biggest spots, you don't want the ball in the hands of Jameson Williams. You want the ball in the hands of Jared Goff or Jalen Hurts or whomever, your quarterback. Yeah, I would tone down the need for crazy stuff.
Well, forget crazy stuff. I mean, is there any evolution that's not crazy that can be, more advanced or have a better opportunity or a better chance to succeed than what they've run this year? I'm not saying everything's got to be the Philly special on steroids. I mean, just execution, right? Just got to play better. Just got to execute it.
I mean, one of the things that I think that surprises fans, and more than anything else, is There's no difference between a regular season game and a playoffs from a preparation standpoint. Literally no difference. Sometimes you have a different day. You have to switch up the schedule. But because it's worked out for the Eagles Sunday to Sunday, which has been rare this season, exact same week, exact same routine, nothing changes. Nothing changed. It's a game of routine. It's a game of now when the game starts, you feel the difference. Players talk about that. The high leverage situation. And some guys handle that better than others. That's different. But yeah, very, very, very little changes.
How about some quarterback runs? I think that could be a change. I'd like to see
Well,
Jalen.
the change is you're trying to manage the health, and now it's Katie bar the door. So
Yeah.
that changes, yeah.
I
But
like
not
that.
from
I like that slogan you use. Katie bar the door.
but not from all that stuff is still in their offense. I mean, they've been doing it for 5 years. Didn't go anywhere. They were just trying to better handle the quarterback's health, so he gets into the postseason as healthy as possible, which they seem to have accomplished.
To me, John, as much as people are looking for even better execution, I think it even might simplify a little bit. Like for all the people who are critical of Patullo, and I understand, I think it's less about play design this week and play calling and all that crap. And to me, I look at the moments in the game. I mean, it's third down. The Eagles got to convert better on third down this week. They got to stay on the field. Can't turn the ball over, something that they've done for most of the year. And then the pre-snap penalties. I mean, they can't get pre-snap penalties, can't kill drives with that stuff. So if they can play a clean operation, convert on third down, and obviously not have those negative runs on first down, then I think this team is going to be in good shape, offensively at least.
Yeah, well, it's getting through to somebody. I'm glad that's been the whole issue. Negative plays early.
Yeah, but I mean, like in week 8, I understand complaining about the other shit. Now it's like, all right, that's now in the rearview mirror. It's no longer time to look to change any of that. Now it becomes execution, and it becomes the moments in the game where you got to, stay on the field, or if you're defense, get off the field like that. At least that's how I see it.
Well, yeah, but it's no different than in week 8 and week 19. It's the same thing that carries you to victory early. The best example I got, the Penn State fans, they're kind of nutty. So there was a famous game where they had a chance to upset Ohio State. I bring it up all the time. They had to go for a 4th and 4 at the time. Trace McSorley was the quarterback. It might have been Saquon. I don't know who was there as the running back. And it's 4th and 4, and they run a zone option, basically, an RPO. And it got blown up, and they lost the game. And people were just killing James Franklin, which is, became a narrative, but this was earlier. Ohio State's the better team. You're in a position to upset them. 4th and 4. Now, the interesting thing is, so many people, and I remember I got a back and forth discussion about it. It's like all they do is run that offense. That's what they practice. That's what they do. That's what you go to in your biggest moment. That's what you're good at. Yeah, but everybody wants them to pull out Bill Walsh West Coast specials out of the blue in the biggest moment. The stuff you don't practice. It's like, people have to understand that base level. You have your offense. You don't change your offense in the biggest moments. You rely on what got you to the dance, so to speak, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, as the case in Penn State on that day. But the worst thing you can do is go, all right, we're going to run a play we've never run before, just to fool them. You're going to fool your own players, and that's where you're going to get false starts and guys lining up wrong and guys running wrong routes. So, yeah, I mean, they have an advantage to play well offensively, and they've been better with the pre-snap penalties and The opposition is weak, but the style's not going to change.
John, does anything about this game concern you? Like, I don't know, John, you seem so optimistic to me.
Well, it's got to do about the opponent. They're dead in the water. I mean, Kyle Shanahan looks like somebody kicked his dog when he was walking off the field after the losses, because he knew what that meant to his team.
It's a tough loss. I mean,
not only did he get, but it was about the rest. It was about getting the bye week. It was about trying to get some guys healthy. It wasn't about losing. He's lost a lot of games. You coach as long as he has, you lose games. He knew what it meant to not get that week off. And similar, I mean, Sean McVay in a different style was similar, when he lost the big game, because everybody wants the number one seed. It becomes obviously the easiest avenue to get to the Super Bowl, but so that's in general. But for this team, even more so, because they just don't have the horses. I mean, we're having a different conversation, believe me, if they're healthy. I'd be very concerned about this game if they were healthy.
Do they have the horses on offense?
Yes and no. I like Trent Williams is going to play. He's not going to be himself.
No, yeah. What do you have, a hamstring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Christian McCaffrey's going to play. He's not himself. He's been dealing with this back. I think George is okay, but he's terminally banged up.
Yeah, literally. I think even Purdy's a little banged up.
So, I mean, certainly the offense is better than the defense. No question about that. And I do expect them to play better than they did against Seattle. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're an NFL team, so it's not like college. If they play well and they get a couple breaks, that's what they're looking for. And that's why I bring up special teams. Make a play on special teams. Get the game to the fourth quarter where one bounce of the football. That to me has got to be their mindset. Get the game to the fourth quarter and hope the ball bounces your way. Because if they get down early, 2 scores, it's going to be a cakewalk.
Well, then I think them would be. Do they go into that prevent offense type of mode where they, that to me is so ugly, but it has worked. So I would assume if they do get the 2-score game, John, if we're talking on the halftime show and the Eagles are up by 2 scores. I am not going to predict they continue to run the score up. I'm going to say, well, it's about to get ugly and slow, but they're going to win the game.
Yeah, probably. To me, it's always hinged. It's always hinged on the running game. Did that week off help the offensive line? Does Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens have one more run in them?
I'm out on Cam Jurgens. I don't
know. To me, that's it. That's what it's all about. Everybody wants to boil it. That's number one thing. But if you want to boil it down to one thing, that's the one thing. They got to get that running game going.
Let's see what ends up happening out there. A big one this weekend, everybody. Big one for the Eagles. All right, to get the W, to try and get the W this weekend and continue to advance in the postseason. All right. I want to thank and welcome everybody for being here this morning. We're going to talk to Les Bowen. John, I think special teams, as you've talked about, what do you think that has an impact on this game? Whenever big games come, man, in football, the special teams always tends to have a factor in the football game. Jake Elliott's been an area of minor concern this year for the Birds, not his best season once again. What do you make of special teams in this game, and how do you kind of see that having an impact on the game?
Well, San Francisco's had really good special teams this year, and it's more than kicker. I I'm not talking about kicker. I think people automatically. I'm talking about return game,
and coverages.
coverage.
Yeah.
Um,
I think for the Eagles though, the kicking is relevant more so than maybe the Niners.
Well, the Niners don't have a good kicker. He's just he's had a pretty good year, but he's a journeyman.
Who is their
Eddie Pinheiro?
Oh,
journeyman.
He was
Journeyman.
for a while, right?
Sort of like a baseball reliever. Those journeyman kickers, they have an up year and down year, but. So I'm not too worried about the kicking game.
It's a good comp, a relieving pitcher. You'll watch one blow a game in Philadelphia, and then he'll go to a team, and then the next year he pitch him well in relief.
Yeah.
Who was the dude that just did that? Who went to what's his name?
Well, there's so many relievers.
I know, but the one this year, just in the damn World Series.
Kirkering?
No, not Kirkering. The guy he left the Phillies.
Oh, he left.
Yeah, somebody in the chat, Phillies fan, help me out.
I'm not a Phillies guy, so I need help on that one. But yeah, I mean, baseball relievers are notorious for having up and down seasons. Eddie Pinheiro's been with Oakland, the Oakland Raiders, Chicago, Indianapolis, Washington, the Jets, the Panthers, the 49ers. I mean, he's the definition of a journeyman. Usually with those guys, it is, he he's had a lot of issues in his career with extra points. That's why you get cut. Most of his field goals he makes, but he's not the big-legged Brandon Aubrey, Will Reichert guy who's going to make 50s at will. So, yeah,
I think field goals are kind of going to be big for that team though in this game. I mean, they can keep them in the game if they're not able to score in this Eagles defense. I don't know how much they're going to be able to score.
Well, they better score touchdowns. Now, I'm out on field goals. I told you.
I know you're out. I'm just saying if they want to make it a fourth quarter game, they got to get points on the board. If you assume the Eagles offense scores 17-20, then 3 or 4 field goals put you in the room at least to try and make a play.
No, I'm the exact opposite. You got the ball inside the 5-yard line, you go every single time.
Yeah. What about inside the 40?
Well, inside the 40, I don't want him kicking it. The 40 to 50, 40 to 45, maybe I want him kicking it. But again, anything under 3 and under, I'm going for. Because you got to score touchdowns to be in this game. And obviously you put more pressure if you have to stop 3 plays or 4 plays. Common sense. If you have to stop 4 plays, it's more difficult than if you have to stop 3 plays. That's the whole philosophy. But it's funny because I'm working on story. I talked to Britton Covey yesterday because he's the punt returner, and he goes, and he's told me in the past, but I wanted to nail him down with it. It's so impactful as a returner that people don't think to get from the 5 to the 10. Because when you're inside the 5 as an offense, you scale back that thing 85%. You're essentially playing 4 minute. You're essentially just running the ball. Maybe you try a little bit of a trick slide RPO, try to fool them a little bit. You're so scaled back from your playbook perspective. And this isn't just the Eagles. This is everybody. And even out to the 15, he said, that's when it starts to loosen a little bit. But even then, you're far more conservative. So you can imagine having a conservative team to begin with, and then you're far more conservative when you're backed up. You can imagine the impact that has. Boy, 25% of the head coaches are out. If I were a rich guy and my coach was kicking 23-yard field goals, I'd be like, dude, don't want it. Don't want you.
I wonder how much they factor in that the Eagles offense doesn't put up all that many points. By the way, the pitcher I was referring to was Jeff Hoffman, John. He went to struggled on the final NLCS or NLDS, I think it was, and then he went to the Blue Jays and had a nice close to win the NLCS.
Well,
or ALCS, excuse me.
Good you got the Jeff Hoffman pull, but going back to what I was saying, if the Eagles are that poor on offense, how good are they going to be coming off their 4-yard line?
Yeah, it's true. Not good.
Versus you get 3 points, but then you kick off and they start at the 35. That's the equation. I mean, you're basically 2 first downs away from field goal position. Insanity. Greg Olson's the best at explaining that. Too many teams haven't figured that out. A few teams have.
J-Mac, what's your prediction on this game, brother?
Eagles are going to win the game pretty easily, I would say. 27-13-ish. They might score a little bit. I'll go 27-17.
I got 23-16 in this game for the Birds.
Yeah, I don't think San Francisco is going to be in it late. Maybe a late touchdown makes it look closer than it is.
So what'd you have, 27-17?
Yeah.
10-point win. Pretty significant.
Yeah, this team is not ready to play from a personnel standpoint. And, very good football team when they're healthy. They're not healthy. It's pretty easy. I mean, so imagine you lose Zach Bowen and Nakobe Dean, and you didn't draft Jihad Campbell, and you got Small Munden and
that'd be a lot more relevant to the Eagles because they're a defensive team. The 49ers are an offensive team, probably because of what you're talking about, because of the injuries. But the Eagles' offense can't make up for a bad defense. The 49ers' offense has been able to.
Well, the 49ers historically have had very good defense.
I know that. I'm saying this year, though, they're an off. I mean, the reason that they won 12 games is not
to the specific question of why. If the Eagles had Smile Munden, who I like a lot as a person, and Chance Campbell, I wouldn't like the Eagles' chances. And they hadn't played. By the way, not only would they, I'm not talking about Smile Munden playing 13 weeks or Chance Campbell playing 13. I'm talking about Zach Bowen and Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, but it would impact the Eagles more because their offense isn't good, right? I mean, you get what I'm saying with that. 49, I get it. It's not good to play with Smile Munden and not Smile Munden catching straight.
Well, everything affects everything else. So your point of, they're more of an offensive team. Well, no, they're not. They were always the defensive team. They hired Robert Saleh. They wanted to get back to where they were. They changed because they had to change. If the Eagles had to change, they changed. So everything affects everything.
Good defenses, but John, I mean, really, you're Kyle Shanahan. They're an offensive team.
I mean, I don't know. It's like Fred Warner, Nick Bosa.
They have a good defense. I'm saying this year they are an offensive football team.
Yeah. What I'm saying is everything in football affects everything else. You have to play differently. You have to play differently. If the Eagles lost their two best defensive players, they would have to play differently. On offense, they've already had to play differently. When they lost their best player, or in the conversation for 7 games, so you see the difference between when Lane Johnson's on the field, when he's off the field. Now, and from the perspective of just help, like when Lane's out there, they don't help him. And then all of a sudden Fred's out there and you got to do more chips and you got to do different things and you got to help him out a little bit. And it shifts everything. Every little thing shifts something else. So if you lose impactful players like Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, the two most impactful players, it's going to shift your the way you play.
Obvious. I'm not saying it doesn't shift it. I'm saying a team that is better offensively would be able to manage those shifts better to me than a team that struggles offensively with or without great defense. I mean, that's how I see it, but maybe you disagree.
Well, San Francisco's always been good offensively and always has been good defensively, which is one of the reasons why they've been a good team.
Yeah. I mean, if they had everybody healthy, they're one of the better rosters in the league.
Yeah. But that's my only disagreement. I like that. No, they were a good defense. They were a very good defense. And you go back to the days when, I don't want to go all the way back to Big Stays because that's a long time, when they were maybe the best defense in the NFL. But that was pre-Kyle. They by and large, especially in their good seasons, because they tend to go up and down because of their injury situation. Their Super Bowl seasons, they've always had good defenses, and that's pretty. That's pretty easy to do when you have Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. By the way, I mean you're going to be good on defense. I mean, Robert Saleh got a job because they were so good on defense.
That's true. That's true. All right, John, just a general question, because I asked this last night to my boy Henry, and Henry disagreed with me. I don't know why. If you could pick one to have going, like, what is more important to you for postseason football? To have a great offense or to have a great defense? Now, I know they don't operate independently, like you just said. One affects the other. But if you can only have one a great offense and or a great defense, what would you choose to have for the postseason?
Still, I mean, if we're talking about truly great, I assume I'd still ship to offense in this era. In a different era, I'd ship to defense. In this era, I still think, and there's very few of them now, because they're also scaled back.
It's just, it's amazing how the offensive football, like, you would think it'd be better than it was in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, and it's not. Why is that? Why is everything else get better and the offenses are not? I mean,
the offenses got better from a
talent, athletic standpoint for sure.
Yeah, and from a yardage standpoint, like there was a run there where it was the best it's ever been. Because it was so easy to pass the ball, and then the defensive guys caught up, and that's where we are now.
Yeah. It's interesting you said offense. I thought defense, but hey, maybe my line of thinking isn't correct. Now, both you and Henry.
Again, I think if you have the best offense in football and you show up with your A game, you're beating the best defense in football with their A game, because everything's skewed towards the offense. That's all I'm saying. It's not anything other than that. But we're talking about a very limited number of teams that are getting more limited and limited because of the style of football they play. And the style of football they play is related to their inability to practice and get these guys up to where they need them to be. So they become more dumbed down, more RPO stuff, more simple stuff, which has become too easy for people like Vic Fangio to deal with. So I get why people would say defense, but if you, and there's usually one or two teams, if they're humming on offense, you even see the little pockets with the Eagles. You go, well, what's going on?
Yeah, right.
You see these little pockets where they're getting beat, and it's because, man, if you execute and you block offensively and you can't stop them. Can't.
Going to be interesting this weekend to see how it shakes out. 49ers do have a pretty good offense, and Eagles have a great defense. So let's see how it goes. The thing to me about the 49ers offense is, as good as they are, I do think they're still limited in some areas. They don't really have the big outside threats. I think Jawan Jennings is a good player. I don't think you can discount him. But if Ricky Pearsall doesn't play, how much can Kittle and McCaffrey do when you don't have that other threat? We're going to find out. We'll see what they end up doing. Let's get to some super chats here today. I want to thank everybody for being here. Playoff time, everybody. Hit that like button. Here's my boy Dice. What's up, Dice? Thanks for the super, brother. Appreciate the $10. He says, win or lose, it's been a great season against a tough schedule. How it looks isn't as important as the results. That I agree with. Been a fan since '89. Trust me, this is as good as it's ever been. Great coverage, you two. Thank you, brother.
Well, it's definitely is. Yeah, this is the golden era of Philadelphia Eagles football, unless one guy, and I always bring up, by the way, said nobody talks about 1949 and 50. I always bring it up, and 60. I
read
in
about
the modern era
encyclopedia that Ray Didinger wrote. It's a phenomenal book, but
yeah, I mean, as I always say, I'm not going back to 1940 and 50.
Yeah.
In the modern era, the Super Bowl era, this is by far the best Eagles run ever. You just saw the best Eagles team ever. Again, Super Bowl era. You just saw it. This year's not as good. It's tough to go from best ever to, hey, let's be better than that. So, and consider again, I'm a big context guy. I think people don't know. There's one freaking team in this league that repeated as a division champion. If that doesn't sum it up to people, how hard it is to win in this league. One.
Yeah, but these is pretty shoddy this year. But you're right; it's still very impressive, from the league perspective.
Yeah, and that's rare. It doesn't usually happen that way. So we've had sort of a changing of the guard, especially in the AFC. But 5 consecutive playoffs, already 2 Super Bowls. Look. I'm old enough to remember Super Bowl 52 when people are, dropping their grandfather's ashes on the parade routes. They just got 1 Super Bowl. All in life would be great. And then greed takes over. Greed takes over.
Here's an African boy, longtime listener, first time super chatter. My first best friend. I see what you're trying to do. You're not going to get me on that. No, thank you. Look, he's got a fake name trying to get me on record. Sorry, African boy. Thanks for the $5 chat. Not today, my friend. All right, good stuff. Appreciate everybody for being here today. We got a good show planned. We're going to have Les Bowen in hour number 2. Looking forward to talking to Les. Les has been, John, he's been pretty tough on Patullo over on X.
Well, I think everybody has.
I know.
I think everybody has.
Yeah, you've been debating. You were going at it a little bit this week with me, with Franklin, with Mike Gill.
Well, I just think
damn, it's breaking, John.
Well, it's already broke. It's got nothing to do with my dad. It's not. It's people. Look, I'm very consistent.
Like you said earlier about Mike Gill, Mike Gill isn't. That's not his default setting.
No, which I think I've also said. Look, if they lose this game, Kevin's out. I've said that pretty consistently. If people haven't heard that, what I'm saying is this is I'm amazed. To me, it's more of a study of human behavior than anything else. Like it's the same cycle over and over again, and it's always like I saw so many people put, well, if the Eagles lose this game, the only way the Eagles lose this game is because of Kevin Patullo. And I sit there and I get to myself. So the only reason I saw this, and this is not fans, by the way, this was like 3 different media people. And I'm like, so the only way the Eagles can lose this game is for somebody who never steps on the field to play a play. I mean, it's just bizarre to me. It really is a study of human nature. But, and then I was talking about this with, if you go back to Doug, I'll just go back to Doug because I was here. Every single offensive coordinator, and people act like Frank Reich didn't get shit on. Frank Reich got shit on in 2016, brutally. People act like Shane Steichen didn't get shit on. Shane Steichen got shit on. Who's Shane Steichen? Who's this? They have no experience. I know. Now he's built into some.
I mean, there is a gauge of are they good or are they not? I mean, or are they doing a good job? I don't think you can just remove it completely.
Well, let's remove the emotion out of it. Let's go down to Washington, where Cliff Kingsbury is. Oh, look at Cliff Kingsbury. Look at what he did for Jaden Dan. And the next year he's out. I mean, it ain't just Philadelphia. The gauge, yeah, there is a gauge. The problem is we can't gauge it. The gauge goes on behind the scenes. How are you preparing during the week?
But don't you think Nick has made some comments that would make you question how he's gauging it?
No. But, it doesn't change the fact that it's going to be out of his hands if they lose. That to me is the But what I'm trying to say is there's you've said that to me a number of times. Like, well, how can you gauge it? You're gauging it by the results on the field. Are the results on the field directed to one person who doesn't even control the offense?
So everybody outside the organizations basically has no idea how to judge an offensive coordinator?
Well, I would say, yeah, most people, yes.
For the
Now,
most part.
there's people in the industry
Right,
who
in the
can
know, who
judge.
see it
Yeah.
differently than
But yes. There's no way anybody could judge it off. There's none. There's zero. Other than you're looking at results and saying, those are what we base offensive. So we say, well, Detroit looks pretty when Ben Johnson's there. And they don't look as pretty when he's not. So he's great. Cliff Kingsbury is great for you. Generally, people are great for a year or two, and then they peter off. Why do they peter off? Because the talent changes. Is Cliff Kingsbury a different coach this year than last year? He might have been a better coach. I have no idea. The only way he's going to become a worse coach is sort of things, again, we can't gauge.
Well, you do agree that a coach can have a better year, right? Even personally, even individually.
Well, it's a results-based business. So you're judged on results. That's what you're judged on. And you can have a better year and a worse year judged on results. I'm talking about
results aside, an offensive coordinator individually can have a better year. Forget the result. His personal evaluation.
Well, I would think, but you know,
we do shows every day. Hey, some days I got a better show than other days. Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. Some days he's got
that's
better
human. That's being a human,
right? That's human nature, right?
Coaches aren't. You might be arguing with your wife or spouse or your kids or whatever. You might have a bad day as a human being, but as a coach overall, you're generally not going to get worse with more experience. You're generally only going to get better. You're going to learn from your mistakes. If you learn from your mistakes, or if you're just a hard-headed. But my point is, and this is, again, if it were just the coaches, people like the truly great coaches that we've seen over a sustained period of time, John Harbaugh being one of them, you would never move off of them. But it's more of the big picture stuff that nobody cares about. Like, are the players listening to you? Are they on board? Like somebody who's been around as much as Harbaugh, like that's 18 years. Yes, some people will tune out at that stage. They've heard the same stuff over and over again. That to me is more relevant than the other stuff. And again, how can I judge that? I'm not in the building. I'm not in the meetings. How can you judge that? That's why I say, so all we can do as outsiders is look at those results, and the results haven't been up to par. But the presumption that all of that lands on one person. Now, how many times, people can parse through Nick Sirianni's words and saying he's helping the offense because the offense is struggling more than the defense. Well, that's just common sense. But they don't seem to parse his words when he says that, well, you can't blame it on one person. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. It's, whatever the issue is, it's a very layered problem. In this particular case, he's not in charge of the offense. And you got people out there saying, at least if it's Kyle Shanahan, he's in charge of the offense. It's his offense, for better or worse. Vic Fangio, it's his defense, for better or for worse. So at least that. When you talk about an offense like John Morton got fired in Detroit, Now, he started the season as the play caller, but he got it taken away from him, and he wasn't even in charge, and he got fired. That's just the way of the NFL. It's not unique to Philadelphia. But in my time here, there has been no liked offensive coordinator, with the exception of the revisionists after they win.
But is he doing the thing that you always say is very important? Do you think he's doing that well? The teaching. I don't think Sean Desai had a bad idea of how to run a defense, but he
very
couldn't.
smart guy.
Yeah, I mean, he runs it similar to
No,
Vic.
I talked about that before. No, I get no evidence of that. In fact, all the players have been very complimentary of Kevin.
Yeah, they say what they do.
Well, they didn't say that with Sean. There's a difference. Kevin Byard's out there saying, we got to go off on our own to figure out some things.
Oh, God. He's having a great year,
trust me, there is a big difference. A big difference.
I always default to what's said, and I'm not saying this is true with Kevin or not, but it's one of the ways I try and look at it is, Seth used to say all the time on our shows, just
look, I love Seth, but come on. Seth is like San Francisco weather. He's going to say one thing one day, another thing another.
Well, I don't know that I'd agree with that on Seth. I think he's pretty consistent.
Consistent? He just said something this week. I got to look it up. How could you be a fan of this team? That's what he said this week.
No, that's not what he said. He said,
what did he say?
He said it's tough to be a fan of this team at times. And that, by the way, most people who are fans of this team and are honest with themselves would agree with what Seth had to say from a macro perspective. Sometimes you watch this team and they win a lot, but you're like, what the hell? You scratch your head. That's normal. That's common for fans who admit it. Most fans don't just sit there clutching their pearls and say, oh, yeah, who cares that we go 3 and out every other drive? That's not how fans are.
Well, I apologize because I get taken out of context all the time as well. But I think it was more than that. But I'll go look because I know some people were covering it. I'll go look.
Someone wrote an article on it. Seth says it's hard to be an Eagle fan, and then people will try and bring up that he never won.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit who Eagles fans are or not, or what they're doing or not. I don't gatekeep. I constantly talk about the issues on this particular team. However, look, I work with Seth too. I think I'm pretty fucking consistent. On my level, I don't look at Seth as the most consistent guy in the world. I'm just being honest.
Okay, that's fine. I think he is.
I mean,
I get what you're saying. You're definitely consistent. I would agree. I would agree with that point. No doubt about it. But I do like the same thing.
And a lot of these people, I say it about Dan Orlovsky all the time. I say it. Who I love and I think is very smart football guy. And I think Seth is a very smart football guy. But they talk in the extremes. And I don't know if they talk in the extremes because they're forced to, or it's just their personality, or if they want to. I have no idea. You have to ask them that question. But when you say, with Dan, it's always Jalen Hurts. Well, and they have a bad game, and he's this terrible quarterback, and I talk about the concepts the concepts are terrible. And then 2 weeks later, I love the concepts. This guy's a top 5 quarterback in the weight does that hold with people?
That's fair. I think, but I do look at it from this perspective. I mean, Seth played obviously for a long time at a very high level. I mean, he's close to a Hall of Fame player. Not quite, but he's damn close. Like if he says something to me about coaching, I value that opinion because of obviously, what he's accomplished and what he's lived. His lived experience is greater than mine in that area. If he says players don't listen to coaches when they don't feel like they can learn something from the coach,
that's 100% true.
Right, and that's what he said.
I've said that a million times. But what I'm trying is, look, how does Seth have the ability to know that? Did he say he's talking to players? Because he's not in the building.
Yeah, well, that might be fair.
What I'm saying, what I said at the beginning of this conversation is, even somebody like me, I can't gauge an offensive coordinator other than by the way that everybody
probably knows some people. I mean, in the organization, he's one of the.
Well, so do I, and I'm telling you, and I talk to him more than he does, and I'm telling you,
I'm not saying you don't. Evidence. I'm just insinuating. I don't think Seth.
I'm telling you, there's no evidence that people have gone to the Sean Desai level, which there was evidence.
That's fair. I think Sean Desai is an extreme. I do agree with that.
There was evidence. What I'm saying is we are not equipped to judge any coordinator in more than a superficial fashion. Everybody, including myself. I'm not picking on anybody else. People will take that. I get it. I get what's going to happen here. And nobody is doing it in more than a superficial fashion. I just know it. I seem to be one of the few that knows it. Now, if I got to sit, if Nick will let me sit in the meetings, I will gladly do so. I will keep it off the record, but I will get a better feel.
Nick can't even answer whether the sky is blue. He's not. All right, let's get to some super chats. We got Les Bowen coming up in a little bit. Here's Nate the guy. What's up, Nate? Appreciate the $10 super chat, brother. He says, I blame Nick. Just by the Super Bowl mic'd up when he told Kellen Moore to call it. Then the Devontae touchdown bomb happened. I think Nick says the type of play and KP picked a play, which puts him in the box.
Well, no, not consistently, but yes, occasionally. And yes, Nick, it's his offense. And if you want to blame somebody first, blame the head coach. But which he, to his credit, is the first to say it's his offense. It's his offense. It was his offense when Shane was here. It was his offense when Brian was here. It's his offense when Kellen was here. It's his offense. Now, the only difference, little pocket, was the first 4 games last season. That didn't go well. And they had the early buy and they scaled it back. And they started running more of what they did previous to when Kellen got here. It's his offense. And yes, if you want to blame somebody, and you can blame them both, by the way, but you should blame the head coach first.
Nate, appreciate the super chat, brother. Here's Anthony Hunt. What's up, Anthony? Is it viable to have Bigsby and Barkley on the field at the same time? Very unlikely.
Well, is it viable can you line them up on the field? Yes.
Sure.
Will it be effective? No.
Forget the effectiveness. Who do you want to take off the field?
Who's going to, in theory, if you're playing 21 personnel, which is for running backs, somebody's blocking. And which one of those two do you want blocking?
No, that doesn't work, I don't think.
So I do think you can line up me and Zander on the field if you want to. So literally, you can line up anybody.
I do wonder why, John. I'm not going to speak for you, but why you push back on just the idea of Tank even getting a few carries here and there. I mean, I look at some of the best backs in the league, and they switch it up here and there. You look at Jahmyr Gibbs, arguably the best back in football. I mean, they got to change of pace back with David Montgomery. Now it's David Montgomery is better than Tank Bigsby. I'm not trying to. But I look at other running backs in the league, and
first of all, I mean, if you're talking about
no matter how good the first guy is, it seems to be a good advantageous thing to do in spots. I'm not saying he needs 12 carries, but 4 or 5 carries, I don't think that'd be a bad thing.
Well, I just think number one, they're different styles of back, Gibbs and Montgomery. 2, Saquon is better equipped for a large workload than Jahmyr Gibbs.
He's a bell cow type of guy.
So you don't need the complementary aspect as once. And I'm just using this. The issue to me isn't 2 or 3 carries or even up to 5. One is, if it's in the first half, who cares? If you want to give him a little bit of break. In high leverage moments, Saquon's going to be on the field, period. End of
high leverage, I agree with. But I think, he's a good spark guy. I mean, he clearly runs hard. He gets yards after contact. I think I like him. I don't know why you don't seem to like Tank at all.
I mean, other than I think people take it too far, and we just saw it with Tanner McKee. Same thing, Tanner and Tank. The more exposed, especially in high leverage situations, it becomes just the difference between the 2 players. Secondly, I'm shocked how many people bailed on Saquon. I would turn it back on you. Why would you want Saquon Barkley off the field for Tank Bigsby?
You don't think there's any area where it's not taking Saquon off the field?
Well, he's off the field. You're not going to play 21.
No, I know, but you don't think there's any. So you don't think there's any area in the game where having Tank have a carry would help the offense more than having Saquon out there in any area? 3 plays, 4 plays. I mean,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If he's healthy and he's ready to go, he's on the field. Now, if you want to talk about management during the season, yeah, I have no problem with it. In the playoffs, no. I mean, that's my guy. I'm not taking him off the field. It's not, he's proven he's handled the workload. No, I think it's silly, to take Saquon Barkley off the field.
Well,
If he has to come off the field, he has to come off. That's different. If he hurts his ankle and he's getting himself right, and that's some of the times you've seen Tank. And
I just like the thing I guess I'm missing here is, we talk about how many carries Saquon had last year. We talk about what that does, to a running back, to their career, to their future, because it's a lot of workload. I disagree that having a decent back that can take some of the load off of him in spots. I'm not saying the highest leverage moments, in spots is a valuable thing. I mean, you have a runner like Tank who gets yards after contact, who has run hungry and well all year long. And I know people are like stuck on this thing of the past where he fumbled. He hasn't fumbled in Philly. I mean, I don't know.
You want to play that game? You want to play that game in the playoffs? Give him a bunch. Well, it depends. I think we're talking.
Don't take it far. I said 4, not a bunch.
Well, I think we're talking irrelevance anyway. So, I mean, 4 carries isn't all right. Give him 4 carries. Who cares? Hopefully, he doesn't fumble on one of them. But for the more of the, you want more of a legitimate compliment. Like Gibbs and Montgomery. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, 4 carries is 4 carries. Like I love BLG. Like, is this the goofiest stat ever? Over at Bleeding Green Nation, the Eagles' record when Tank gets 1 carry or fewer is 4-5, and his record when he gets 2 carries or more is 7-1.
At BLG put that out there.
I don't know. I mean, it's on Bleeding Green Nation. I don't want to blame BLG. I don't know who did it.
But BLG could take the heat. He'd come on and talk about it.
I mean, really? Give him 2 carries, I guess. It's not going to.
Come on, John. That's all the evidence I need, man. I think I'm right.
To me, it's so irrelevant. It's like one of those discussions. People like Tank for some reason. I have no problem with Tank. The fans. It's interesting.
But what about the point of like the bell cow because of how many touches he had last year? Like, how don't you see that part of it?
Well, because I think
one of the biggest things we talk about in the offseason. How's Saquon going to manage?
Yeah, but I've shifted because Saquon looks the same to me physically. The offensive line doesn't. So I think I was on the right path. I was in the right church, wrong pew.
That's fair.
I thought it was going to affect Saquon. It's affect the guys that were blocking for him in such a physical standpoint. Look, I will criticize Saquon when he deserves criticism. He's not a good pass protector, not a good blitz pickup guy. He's not a good passer. That's another thing. You get him involved in the passing game. Well, they don't get him involved in the passing game because he's very uneven in the passing game.
Yeah, I agree with. Like, you see some of these other backs who can catch the ball out of the bag. Saquon, he does struggle. How many drops is it? It feels like he's had a lot of drops this year. I don't know what the number is, but
he's got a lot of bobbles. Sometimes. So
it almost feels like every catch, even if he catches it, he's bobbling that sucker.
Which it limits the yards after catch. You make that quick bobble.
Yeah, right.
Guys are right there. But as a runner, I mean, and you can even criticize he's too concerned about hitting the home run. But I mean, those guys are not on the same page. I know the numbers. I mean,
well, do you not think Tank has looked good in his moments this year?
Yeah, but like when Saquon's on the field, everybody's looking at Saquon. Like he's who they're game planning for. Nobody's fucking game planning for Tank Bigsby. If Saquon Barkley leaves the game for whatever reason, and they have to shift and say, we're getting gouged a little bit because Tank's had 2-3 good runs, I think you'd see the adjustment pretty quickly and see the difference pretty quickly.
Here's African Boy. What's up, brother? Appreciate the super chat. Now here, you're not trying to get me on this one. Thanks, brother. Scale from 1 to 10. Grade KP and Fangio. Fangio 10. That's my done.
Yeah, it makes as good as it gets. Yeah. Kevin's average 5. Yeah, average. Not as bad as people think. I don't think anybody thinks he's good, so I can't say he's not as good as people think. But he's not as bad as people.
Wait, what did you give KP? A 5?
Yeah, it's average. Isn't 5 average?
Yeah, 5's average. I'll go with that. I go 3 or 4.
Yeah, everybody would. A lot of people would go 1. He's the worst offensive coordinator in the history of the world until the next guy comes. He's the worst offensive coordinator in the history of the world, unless they win. If he wins, he's great. They win. He's great.
I agree that people tend to go there with coordinators, but I do think there is a scale, and I don't think Kevin Patullo has done much to tip the scale the other way.
If they win the Super Bowl and they play well in the Super Bowl offensively, what do you think people's reaction is? Oh, he still stinks?
Maybe players bailed him out.
Well, certainly certainly is. I mean, that's all coaches. Nick gets that. So, I mean, Nick gets, he wins because of the players. And when they lose, it's because of Nick. So Kevin gets that. Kellen got that. But, all right, let me take it one further. If they win the Super Bowl, play well offensively, and there's that 7th, 8th straggling team that has gotten turned down by 3 head coaching candidates, and they go, oh, let's go get the Super Bowl offensive coordinator. He's a head coach next year. And the next guy struggles. What's the narrative then? So Cliff Kingsbury comes in and struggles.
The head of the snake is still Nick Sirianni, obviously.
Well, the head of the snake is right now. But, you win 2 Super Bowls in a row. I don't think there's too much criticism until the games start. And then nobody cares. And this guy's the worst since Kevin Patullo. Who is the worst since Kellen Moore? Who's the worst since Brian Johnson? Who's the worst since Shane Steichen? God forbid you go back to Mike Groh and Press Taylor and people like that. Frank Reich.
Press Taylor might be another example of people being right.
The revisionist history.
I think that's what's holding Doug back. He can't let Press Taylor go.
I love you, Zander, but the conviction of speaking like Press Taylor. What amused me most about Press Taylor was that he wasn't even a Doug Peterson guy. He was an Eagles guy.
Yeah, it's true.
He was already here. And they would talk him behind the scenes. Oh, this guy's a genius. This guy's a rising star in the coaching ranks. And ultimately he was. I mean, he came up with Philly special. He mined the Philly special, which basically means he watched the tape of Chicago running it in Minnesota in a meaningless Week 18 game when both were out of the playoffs. That's where it got for those who don't know, that's where they got the Philly special, was a Chicago play. So everybody steals everything in the NFL. But I digress. He was this rising star, foisted, to use a Larry David phrase, foisted onto Doug Peterson. Then Doug said, yeah, you know what? This guy's pretty good. I like this kid. And he said, yeah, I kind of agree. And then they turned on him, and he becomes Doug Peterson's guy. Other than Doug took him to Jacksonville because he liked him.
Yeah, but now the body of work hasn't been good,
But again, the conviction comes from nothing more than the results of the play. Again,
because I believe the coordinator does have something to do with the results.
Well, again, what is the difference between Cliff Kingsbury this year and Cliff Kingsbury last year? As a coach,
to be frank, I never was the biggest Cliff Kingsbury guy, even last year.
But as a coach, if you're going on the results aspect of it, as a coach, that's what you're judging on.
Right. The players. I get where you're going.
I mean, I'm talking about guys who are more, have more experience and have a larger sort of sample size than Kevin Patullo had or Press Taylor had back then. From the standpoint of, say, Kyle Shanahan, believe it or not, and I have to look it up, I am sure because he's been doing it a long time, and it's been brought up before. Vic is 4-0 against him, 3-1, I think, but they haven't scored more than 14 points or whatever it is. He's been awful. He's had bad seasons. Nobody is going to wake up tomorrow and say, nobody in the league is going to wake up tomorrow and say, oh, that Kyle Shanahan is. Look at Mike McDaniel, his first 2 years in Miami, coming off Kyle Shanahan versus Mike McDaniel. I mean, like, the evidence is all over the place. These guys he's a good coach, and then he's a bad coach, and then he's a good coach, and then he's a bad coach. It doesn't make sense. Andy Reid wasn't a bad coach in 2013, his last year, whatever, 2012. His last year. Was Andy Reid a bad coach? Got bad results. Turned around pretty quickly in Kansas City. By the way, had a bad year this year.
Yeah, true. Here's King taking over. Once again, Jalen Hurts is about to prove why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when it comes to playoffs among his peers. Josh who? Lamar what? LOL. I like it. Eagles fans getting that swagger, John, for the playoffs.
The swagger. Quarterback versus quarterback time. Jalen going out there by himself.
I do think this is where Jalen, does have an opportunity to really put his print on the game. He's had moments in the big games where he's played very well.
I'll say the same thing if they lose as if they win. He ain't out there by himself.
Well, he can still play better or worse. I mean, he can still have
well, of course, but I'm trying to say he's a good quarterback. Similar to the coaching discussion. There's no doubt he's a good quarterback. But I'm talking about he's better than Josh Allen because he's won a Super Bowl and he's won more playoff games. That's not a good way of evaluating quarterbacks.
Potentially, it's not. All right, appreciate everybody being here. We're going to talk to Les Bowen in a little bit. I think hopefully I did not have the same issue I had yesterday with Wednesday with Brandon Lee Gouton, and I think I did, dude. Oh no, we got him. Here it goes. We got Les Bowen. All right, cool. I've been having email problems. I don't know what's going on with these emails. I'm like, it's 2026. I still can't figure out my damn email, and all I do is sit in front of this computer all day.
Might be a StreamYard problem.
Nah. Well, you know what I think it might be is you put a link in an email, and then emails recognize it as spam because there's so many spam emails out there nowadays. But all right, we got the great Les Bowen in the green room. Let's get to him right now. He joins us here on Birds 365. You can follow him at Les Bowen. Les, how you doing, man? It's playoff time in Eagle Land, and the talk is high. How you doing, my friend?
I am really good, and yes, it certainly is.
We're getting used to this last 5 consecutive years.
Yeah.
It is an amazing run, but it's one with a lot of, I don't know whether you want to call it desire for style points or whatever. Is that just natural? If teams are good, you just expect more and more and more and more.
I've thought about this a lot, John, and because this the end of the regular season, you kind of take stock of the season a little bit. If you'd have said when the season started that the Eagles were going to be 11-6, and you showed people, these are the wins, these are the losses. Yeah, okay, that year after the Super Bowl, probably they had some injuries, had to replace 5 defensive starters. They won the East. Okay, that's great. But the way they did it, obviously, was not what we expected. It never goes like you think it will. It wasn't the 5 defensive starters that they had to replace that was the problem. They didn't have a huge raft of injuries. They weren't out there trying to win with Tanner McKee every week or something. They had one big injury, Lane Johnson. And that did have an effect, but the offense looked bad before Lane went down. I think this year anyway, the style point question is one of, can you really win the Super Bowl this way? And I've seen people write columns saying, oh yeah, they can, their defense is so good, they're just going to win games 13-12 and 10-7. I don't believe it. I don't think that will happen. It'd be nice if it did, but I just think if this season ends in disappointment, we're going to end up thinking they blew a great opportunity in a year when nobody's really that good and they're as talented a team as there is in the league. And, I think that's where the frustration lies. I think if people really thought, okay, this is just what we have to do, our defense is so good, we'll just figure out a way to win. I don't think people really believe that, and I know I don't really believe it.
Well, do you think they have another gear list? Do you think they can take this, or are they who they are at this point, and they're going to win their way, or they're not? Do you think they can take it to a new gear, this offense, in the postseason?
Xander, the rust for the offensive lineman and getting back Lane, maybe that will supercharge things somehow. And they're playing a defense that isn't that great. In the first round anyway. And all those, it's a possibility. I think it's a real possibility, but it's also a real possibility. I mean, we've seen them down the stretch play bad defenses and do the same things that they were doing against good defenses. Some of it is, I know Mike Tanier, you guys know Mike, wrote a really good piece this week looking at the Eagles offense and all the things they don't try to do, like screen passes and the things that good offenses do that the Eagles just aren't interested in trying. I really think there's a structural problem here. And it probably goes a little bit beyond Kevin Patullo. I think, I'm getting way ahead of myself. But if they do lose, let's say they lose this weekend, I think
Kevin's going to be scapegoated. Yeah, no question.
Oh, yeah, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have to have a real talk with Nick, not just about whether Kevin Patullo is the offensive coordinator, but the concepts that Nick imposes on this offense year after year that aren't modern, state-of-the-art concepts that don't, that aren't what the good teams are really doing. They won last year. Mike did a good job of pointing this out. They won last year with defense and with an offensive line that you could have done anything behind. You could have, you ran the ball a million times. You could have done anything with that offensive line. You didn't need a great scheme. You didn't need to scheme people open that much to win. Now maybe, with the offensive line playing the way it is now at a lower level, you need more creativity, I think. And I hope, maybe I'm wrong, but I really think it's going to bite them in the butt. If not this week, then at some point in the playoffs.
It's interesting because I've thought about this in the past. They are very obviously, whether they hate the term or not, conservative. They're very, ball security conscious, which has worked for them.
Yes. They
do have tremendous players, skill position players who can win one-on-one. And if that, like, they run a lot of hitch routes, and everybody makes that. They run
more than anyone in the league.
Yeah. Well, they run a lot of hitch routes because they think AJ and DeMonte are going to get open against man coverage. So when they think it's man coverage, they run a lot of hitch routes. They think Saquon Barkley is going to be able to, do things as a running back that other running backs can't do, to put it mildly. So at sometimes when you talk about that word creativity, I find it interesting. Are you just less creative? Does having better players make you less creative?
It might well be. It might well be. I hadn't thought of it that way, John, but that's an interesting thought. I see them, the problem is sometimes they run those hitch routes against zone defense.
Well, yeah. Well, then they're reading, then you're reading it wrong. which is another question.
Yeah.
Conversation.
And Barkley, I don't blame him much for the offense this year, but I do think with all those carries and all those yards last year, he has a little bit less zip. He's not jumping over people this year. He's taking the yards that are there, and often he's getting hit in the backfield, and I don't blame when a running back, can't take the handoff without having to break a tackle. I don't look much farther than that. But physically, these guys probably aren't. That's the thing about winning the Super Bowl. The next year, people just aren't as spry. The 21 games you played last year, that went into mid-February, that matters. It really does. And, I think they needed to be a little more creative than they were this season, frankly.
With Barkley, I just said, I think we were all focused on the 482 touches, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I think we were all in the right church, wrong pew, because he looks pretty similar for whatever reason. He's a physical freak. He's been able to hold up. But the offensive line, the pounding that they took, blocking, which I don't think those guys played a physical brand of football. And to your point of, like, Cam Jurgens does not look like the same player.
No, he does not.
Landon Dickerson, not the same player. Lane, as you mentioned, has been hurt. Tyler Steen, I think, has been okay, but he's not Mekhi Becton in the running game, at least. And
even Lane and Mailata has not been.
No, he's not been as good as either. But he's been good, just not as good.
But even Lane, when he was healthy, I was noticing, the PFF rankings, you never know what's good and what. Some of them are good, some of them aren't very good. But they had Lane as the 33rd best tackle in the run blocking before, in the downs that he played. Yeah. I mean, it just hasn't been. And you guys can't talk to Jeff Stoutland this year for some reason. So, it just, it has to be the load. I mean, I don't think they all suddenly got washed up overnight. There's talk that Jurgens, with the back surgery, maybe needed longer to rest.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have given him longer to rest. Landon Dickerson, if he's playing with calf and whatever the other injury.
Oh my God! It's a knee, it's an ankle, it's a calf, it's a back. It's
maybe
literally
let him heal up a little. I mean,
that was the goal in week 18. I don't know how much a week is going to give you.
But when starters aren't playing to even a decent level, maybe the drop off to a backup for a few weeks wouldn't be that extreme. And I really think they pushed this maybe harder than they needed to with these guys. I don't know. I'm not down there, but it just seems like to me they could have.
Well, I think you saw it with Brett Toth. Brett has actually played well this season.
I thought Kendall played okay. Now it's backups, but whatever. I think you're right, Les. I don't know. My black pill, Les, is that I don't know if Cam Jurgens is ever going to return. I hear back surgery. Yeah. The way they played, the tush pushes, everything that goes. I listened to Jason Kelsey say the tush pushes took years off my career. That's my. I don't know if Cam Jurgens is ever going to return. We'll see. Les, what do you make of the game this weekend from a matchup standpoint? I know the offense obviously is a big problem for the Eagles, and it has been all year. But boy, this is a good hand to get. I mean, you got a bad defense coming in, and then you got an offense that while they are pretty good, Fangio matches up nicely with guys like Kyle Shanahan and offenses like this. How do you see the game this weekend? What are some of the keys you see in this one?
Yeah, if you can't win at home with that extra rest against a 49ers team that's missing Fred Warner and Joey Bosa, then you weren't going to win the Super Bowl anyway under any circumstance. They do match up well. Trent Williams is playing. I saw one account from a doctor, Dr. Chow, that said, he thinks Trent will still be limited with his hamstring a little bit. That's the biggest guy on the offensive line. They have a good offensive line, actually.
Their other tackle's very good. Their weakness, I would say, is in the interior. So
right.
Could be a big Jalen Carter game if he's healthy. Which we don't know.
Right. Brock Purdy has, I was a real skeptic of him initially. I was thinking a lot of the things that critics say about Jalen Hurts, I would have said about Brock Purdy a few years ago about, it's really the guys around him. It's not really him. But I've seen him do some pretty impressive things. And so I guess I was wrong about that. I respect him a great deal. I think, we at the point where we just assume that Vic Fangio's defense is going to shut people down. And at home, I think they have a good chance of, certainly they shouldn't get clobbered out there by the 49ers offense. Not the weapons other than McCaffrey and Kittle aren't overwhelming. I think with Kittle, the Eagles are very, very good at covering tight ends. They're the best in the league. So I feel pretty solid about that. And as far as the Eagles offense goes, if this team doesn't get sacks, the 49ers, the time will be there, I think, to make plays. And we just have to hope that they're not like getting in 3rd and 1 and throwing it down the sideline twice like we were doing last week.
3rd and 1. Throw the go route.
But yeah, obviously I think they should win. I think some fans, and this always happens, there's some fans that act like they're playing the Titans or something. They're not. It'll be a tough game, I think, but they should win. They should win this. Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned it's not just Fred Warner. Fred Warner, by the way, is the best linebacker in football, and number 2 is not close. And when you lose a player like that, it's devastating. Then Nick Bosa as well. They only have 20 sacks.
I meant Nick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they only have 20 sacks on the season, which sacks are not the best metric, but that's really bad no matter any way you shake it. And then I look at they're going to start Eric Kendricks, who was on, a very good player at one point in his career. But, that's probably 2017 when he was playing the Eagles in the championship game. And he was on the street a couple weeks ago. And then they're down to one of their backup linebackers. The 2 of them have not even played 50 snaps on the season, and they got to go out there and play a playoff game.
Yeah.
If the Eagles don't win this game,
take advantage of that.
Yeah.
There's no way. And Bryce Huff, they're
Bryce Huff might be their best pass rusher.
Yeah.
If the Eagles can't win this game, all bets are off. Everybody deserves whatever they get.
Well, I never like to some clarity, frankly. Yeah. We wouldn't have to be having these debates. I think if they lose this week, I think it'll be pretty clear what they need to do going forward.
Do you think it'd be a scapegoat? If you're the offensive coordinator of a team that's the most expensive offense in the history of football, and you're bottom 10 in the league, is that a scapegoat? I don't know. That's the word we're going to use, but I don't know if he's actually a scapegoat. It might be.
I don't see that. I think it's been again. I think a lot of it is him, and some of it's Nick. And.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If I had to need to have the conversation, they can bring in a new offensive coordinator. But
I agree with you, Les. It's like this offense looks real familiar.
Yeah.
And to me, and it's more than one thing. Nick will say that all the time. But to me, if Saquon Barkley, forget about 2,000 yards. If Saquon Barkley is running for 1,600 yards, this is a very similar offense as last year's offense. Yep. Very similar. They can't run the ball. That, to me, is the big difference between this year and last year. But even if you go back to Shane and Brian Johnson, very similar concepts. The only shift was the first 4 games under Kellen Moore. And then they scaled it back to the normal stuff.
Yep.
What's going to change? That's my point, Les. What is going to change when they fire? And believe me, if they lose on Sunday, they're going to fire Kevin Petula.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
What is going to change?
I just think, like I said, Lurie and Roseman have to take this into – they're in charge here. they have to make the point to Nick, okay, we're bringing in an OC and we're going to run this person's stuff, and you better like that. I mean, some people would say that's an absurd thing to say to a guy who's won as many games as Nick.
Yeah, and that's where I think Nick obviously has the leg to stand on. I mean, he can say, you guys can want this great passing offense or all these different things all you want. I mean, those teams don't win as much as I do, so it might look ugly at times, but my philosophy is what's worked. I don't think Nick will actually say that to them if they come to him.
If they get bounced this weekend, I don't think any of that's going to hold a lot of water, Zander. I really don't. I mean,
you're right.
There's just, again, the year after the Super Bowl is tough for everybody.
Do you think that offense is holding Jalen Hurts back?
I don't know. I don't know if it's that way or the other way. Jalen Hurts is holding offense. I don't know. I don't have a clear picture of what he wants to do, frankly. He has said some things. He said something this week that pricked ears a little bit when he was asked about running. And he had a quote about basically saying, well, the way that this offensive coordinator wants to run things, I don't have an idea of what Jalen really wants to lean on or what his beliefs are beyond. I think he's with them in the not turning the ball over thing. I think that's very important to him as well, and it should be. But I don't know. I can't answer that very, very definitively.
Yeah, I like when I hear that because I don't know how anybody can answer that definitively because I go back, I struggle with that. I say sometimes I think, well, they're trying to build an offense around Jalen Hurts and what he does best. And sometimes I think, well, this is too much. They're being too cautious, too risk averse. And then you have the Chargers game thrown in the middle there where they turn it over 5 times, twice on one play. And that sort of mucks it up. And then I think that sort of scuttled them back.
We have seen him be very prolific earlier in his career. And I think we sometimes forget because we've had a couple years now of it's, throwing for 170 yards a game. In like 2022, he was slinging. I don't know whether defenses took that away or I don't understand. I don't know.
But one thing they've always had, even before Saquon Barkley, is a top-tier running game. Really, since 2021, whenever it was, Game 7, there was that Las Vegas game last, where they really started to say, and then they went, I believe, to Detroit the next week, and they just ran right through Detroit. Mm-hmm. And then it was like they found their identity. And whether it's been Miles Sanders or DeAndre Swift or Saquon Barkley, obviously they took it to another level. They've always had a top 5 running game. This year they don't.
Right. But they should be able to, with the weapons they have, work around that. If you do well enough with the passing game, then they have to respect that and pull some people off the line of scrimmage, but they haven't been able to do that for very often.
Yeah, well, that's my concern. My concern is, can they really use the pass to set up the run? Because that's what everybody says. Well, now you need to use the pass to set up the run. Well, maybe they can't use the pass to set up the run. And the run has to set up.
Why?
Well, that's the thing. Is it the quarterback? Is it
the talent? Whew.
Is it the quarterback? Is it the scheme? Is it the concepts? I love the concepts, Les. I love that. The concepts, people hate the concepts one week. They love them the next week. The Minnesota game, when they were clicking on all cylinders. But they're few and far between. They're certainly not a consistent passing team. I think we can all agree on that. Right. But at the end of the day, you look at it. AJ's got 1,000 yards. Devontae's got 1,000 yards. Dallas Goedert's got, 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the numbers don't look terrible, but the product looks terrible.
And they gained about almost 950 fewer yards this year than they gained last season in the regular season, which is a big number. Big old number.
Yeah, well, what's the difference between – what did Saquon end up?
I think 14, wasn't it? Something like that. Let me see here. I have that.
Because Saquon was 2005.
Yep.
And I think he ended at 1,100 and something.
I don't know. Let's see here. Rushing.
1140 for Saquon.
Yes, 1140. I was thinking 1440. No, 1140. 280, 1140, 4.1, which surprises me.
Yeah,
actually.
well, that's and that's I'm doing quick math in my head, so it's probably wrong. That's 865 downgrade. And what did you say? There were 900 lower?
950 overall.
950.
So that's almost all of it. They actually threw for more yards this year than they did last year.
Yeah. And he said he also had a career high in touchdown passes, even better than 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. Very weird team. It's a very weird team.
They were outgained by their opponents.
Yeah, well, they went like the first 7 games, I think. First 7 or 8 games where they're outgained every single game by their opponents. Yeah. Here's the issue to me also. They're dead last in the NFL with 3 and outs. I think it's
29%. Yes.
Yeah. And then the other, so about 30% of the time, they're the worst offense in the league. And the other 70% of the time, they're pretty efficient. It's weird. Usually, if you have like a bad offense, you have a bad offense. If you have a good offense, you have a good offense. They have like a awful offense for stretches, and then they get really efficient.
Yeah, like that Buffalo game, the first half was just fine. They only scored 13 points, but they moved the ball pretty well. And the second half, they got 1 first down.
I've never seen anything like it. These lulls, I've never. Yeah. Why? Here's my biggest criticism of Kevin Patullo. Why, when you're having those lulls, why can't you get the quarterback a layup? Where's the
roll it out? Yeah, do something. Yeah.
Why? Well, that's my biggest criticism. It's like, why can't you kickstart something? Just get a first down, kickstart it. And the easiest way to do that would be able to run the ball, but they're not running the ball effectively. Yes. So maybe it's a screen pass, maybe it's a bubble screen, which I hate, but if it works, great. Quick slant, something. That little flat pass to Dallas Goedert off RPO. Why can't they get layups?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, Les, on the other side, you talk about an offense that we all believe that they're underachieving. Defense is the opposite, Les. I mean, they're another dominant force. They've been only given up 14.5 points a game since week 10, since the arrival of Jalen Phillips. How confident are you in that offense, man? Or that defense, excuse me. I know you said it. Can you really win 4 games with just the defense? I don't know. Sometimes I believe they can, Les. Sometimes I really do believe if you get up 17, 20, 21 points, might be enough. How confident are you in the defense going into the playoff run?
Well, I think it depends on the opponent quite a bit. There are teams in the playoffs, and it should be one of them should be this week, that you probably can win without scoring. That probably aren't going to score a lot on you, even if they play well. But is that going to hold true? Is that if you have to play the Rams, is that going to hold true? Is a team like Seattle that also has a very good defense? Are they going to beat you 6-3 or something? It
might be at a conservative fest. Who's ever most conservative wins the game. Seattle, Philadelphia.
Yeah, I just think the offense ought to be able to help more than it does, and I don't think I think it's going to be hard to limp through the playoffs playing the way that they have played against good defenses this year. But that defense I put a lot of faith in it. I really do. The coaches on that side develop players. That's another thing that Lurie and Roseman and even Sirianni himself has to be thinking about here is how the defense consistently makes guys better. Like a Jomo, and the offense, when do you ever see that from the offense? You used to see it on the offensive line a little bit, but not lately. It's interesting. It really is.
I've had that thought, Les. And at what point, and maybe you don't want to go there, but I'm going to go there with you. At what point do we say to ourselves, because I look at this team and I say, for many years, and a lot of this is the Zander's point of, this is the highest paid offense in football.
Yes.
And, that skews our perception. And I'm like, who are the best players on the Philadelphia Eagles? For many years, it was A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
It was Lane Johnson, Devontae, Jalen Hurts, all the offensive guys, Landon, Cam. All of a sudden, the best players are on defense.
Yeah.
The best players on this team, in my opinion, for this year, take everything off the table every other year. So take the reputation off the table. The best players on this team are Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean.
And Jalen Carter, probably.
Well, the only reason I don't put Jalen is because he's been injured. But typically he's the best of them all when he's healthy.
Right.
He's the best. He's the best defensive player they have. But
yeah, you're right. And when they had the Pro Bowl stuff last month, we were debating whether they left off this defensive player or that defensive player.
Jordan Davis.
We never said a word.
What a year
about,
Jordan Davis has had.
Right. That was the debate. There was.
You're right. You didn't even hear anybody say, "Hey, AJ
one
Brown."
of the offensive guys on there. In fact, we were all amazed that Cam Jurgens was in there.
Yeah, that was complete.
But nobody said a word about anybody on offense.
I don't even think Cam's the best center on the Eagles because Brett played better than he did when he was in there.
Yeah.
He did. It was a small sample size, obviously, but he did play better. But I think we've seen that changing of the guard. I think the best players on the Eagles, and I'm not saying Vic is not a part of it or the guys developing them aren't a part of it, but the best players on the Eagles are on the defensive side now.
Yeah. And I wonder about offensive coaching. I wonder about a lot of things. I just don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do in this draft. It's got to be offensive line driven. I know you don't go out there thinking, okay, our first pick has to be this and our second pick has to be that. That's a good way to really screw things up. But you have to be looking at offensive line very, very hard.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's what they believe in. And they've been looking for years for a Lane Johnson sort of heir apparent, and it just hasn't worked out for them.
Right.
How the draft board. So that obviously gets in the way, but they're certainly going to start to turn over not only the offensive line, but the offense as a whole. Dallas Goedert's probably not going to be back. They don't really have a heir apparent. And then on the other side, Les, the salary cap comes into it. All of a sudden, you're going to have to start paying these
defensive players. Yes, you are. And I think they will. I mean, the guys that are in line to get paid are pretty solid guys. They're guys that they want to keep around.
And right away, I should have mentioned how good Jalen Phillips has been. They got to make that decision quick.
Yes.
He is a very good player.
He is. And the effect that he had, was real. Even though his stats aren't incredible, I think the effect that he had was very noticeable.
Yeah, I agree. Les, if I gave you three names and you can only keep two of them, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Jalen Phillips, three guys in that D line.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't know. You tend to think maybe Carter isn't the guy because he just doesn't seem to, whether it's health or attitude or what his deal is, it doesn't seem to stay. The other two guys, maybe you're a little more solid about on and off the field, but I don't want to miss any of those guys. Frankly, I want to go through all. I want to keep all three.
Me too.
Me too. Yeah, I don't think that's the question. I think the question is less between Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, and Jalix Hunt.
Yeah.
I don't think he can keep all three.
Jordan. I'm keeping Jordan.
Yeah. I would keep Jalix Hunt.
So would I. He's been unbelievable.
Nolan, good player, but irreplaceable. I don't know. I don't think so.
He's not irreplaceable. I mean, look, I like Jalen Phillips. We just saw Howie get an edge that worked out in the middle of the season. I don't think you can trade for a defensive tackle to clean it up that easily. Now, that's not to say edge isn't important. I just think you got to keep your DTs. That's the way I see it. But all right, Les, what's your prediction for the game, brother? Who do you think wins this game this weekend?
I will go with the Eagles 22-19. Something like that.
I like that.
Close.
Yeah.
Eddie Pinheiro, Jake Elliott game. That's not good for either team, I don't think.
But I don't think the Eagles are going to run away from anybody. And I'd be happy to be wrong. You can run this clip all next week if they score 50 points or something.
Yeah, I think you're good. I think that clip will not be run. I think you're safe there. All right, Les, we appreciate you joining in, man. I appreciate it. As always, make sure you guys follow him at Les Bowen. Always good talking with you, Les. Thanks for bringing some truth to the convo today. We'll talk to you again soon, all right?
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya. Joining us here on Birds 365. Good stuff from Les Bowen. Like that score, John. 22-19.
22-19. That's a big Jake Elliott field goal.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. That's why I like it. I said, hey.
I still trust Jake Elliott more than Eddie Pinheiro, even though he's had a difficult season. The special team stuff for me is about the coverage and kickoff and punt returns. I think San Francisco is really good. But Britain's calmed that down for the Eagles too.
I'll tell you what's funny though, John. I'll tell you what's funny, and I don't. This is no shot at Les because this is commonplace across everywhere. All that, and he picks the Eagles.
Well, yeah,
True though. Everybody's got a gripe, got a thing, got an opinion, me included. And then when a push comes to shove, it's like, yeah, I'm taking the Eagles in that game because they win so much.
Well, that's what Vic said when he was talking earlier about the playoffs. It was whatever they call Division I AA now, but everybody's got a bitch. That's what Vic said. Everybody's got a bitch. They're not. I say it all the time. They're not as good as people want them to be, but they're not as bad as people perceive them to be until they make that prediction. What do they say? Oh yeah, they're gonna win.
Let's see what happens. John, what's on the agenda for the Birds today, man? A couple minutes left on our playoff football Friday. As we get ready now for playoff football, John, the fun will either start this weekend and continue, or it will come to an end rather quickly. We will find out. What's on the agenda today for the Birds?
Typical Friday practice, as we said. Everything's the same as a normal game week. So we'll talk to Nick Sirianni first, noonish practice, and then open locker room. And then that's it. Walk through, and then it's game time. And we'll either be talking about another game next week, or we'll be talking about coaches getting fired and all that fun off-season stuff.
So, John, I'm looking. Yesterday we talked about the weather a little bit. And these weather, it's almost funny how –
yeah.
But, remember yesterday I said 7 to 13, and you were like, geez, that's a big range. Now it says –
Well, 7 to 30 it was. It's 7 to –
No.
Oh, 3 to 16. But you had the gust.
Now it's 3 to 16 with gust up to 34.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm like. What is that? Well, you're telling me 3 to 34? What are you telling me there? AccuWeather? I don't know who that is. I don't want to blame AccuWeather.
I think I don't know what Apple uses. I think it's weather.com or something.
Come on, guys. You got to do better than that, don't you? You got
34 is a big gust. I can live with 3 to 16.
34 is a huge gust. That's what I'm saying. You can live. 3 to 16 is bad enough. You can certainly live with 3. That's nothing. And then you're telling me 34? Yeah, that's not. You got to do it. You got to nail that down better for it. It is getting colder and colder. I noticed, too. Like early in the week, it's going to be in the 50s.
Yeah, now it's down to like 40s.
Now it's 44.
Yeah,
which I think helps the Eagles. And some rain, but I think the rain's going to be done by the time.
Look at Keith, 33 in a school zone is a ticket. Good way to put it, Keith. Good way to put it into context.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. 3 to 33 or 3 to what are you doing for me? It's like,
I'm guessing it's going to be windy, John. Who's that favor?
Well, it doesn't favor anybody, but
I think favors the Eagles. Defensive game is an Eagles game.
Yeah, I mean, well, it doesn't favor the offense.
No, but again, Eagles aren't an offensive team. The 49ers are.
Yeah, I would say it favors the Eagles. I mean, San Francisco is not a Northeastern team either. They don't have to play in the dome, but there's some crappy weather in Northern California at times, but not like here. So it always factors, the team more used to it favors. But we'll see. I mean, it's too far out. As these goofballs give away.
As we showed you all week how much it changes from day to day. Yeah.
So it's going to be 34-mile-an-hour gusts. That could affect the game dramatically. If it's going to be 3, it's not going to affect the game at all. So thanks, weather.com.
I'll have to tune on my girl Cecily, see what Cecily has to say about the weather this weekend. We'll see what Cecily says. All right, John, you're fine. Oh, we got one super chat. Let's get to it. Here's King. King said earlier, once again, Jalen's about to prove. Now he follows it up and says, John, then why is Tom Brady considered the GOAT if Super Bowls don't matter? I thought players are supposed to be judged on success in the playoffs and championships.
Are you new here, King? Yeah, everybody's judged on results. What I've tried to say is quarterbacks don't play the Super Bowl by themselves. Tom Brady, yes, is considered one of the greatest times because he's an outlier. In a lot of ways, and Zander can tell you, I said he's broken quarterback evaluation because he won so much. And when you have guys on that end of the spectrum, obviously they surpass everybody else. But guess what? Tom Brady never won a Super Bowl with a bad supporting cast. And he lost 2 Super Bowls because of the New York Giants pass rush. And he lost 1 Super Bowl because he got outgunned by Nick Foles. I don't sit here and say Eli Manning's better than Tom Brady because he beat him in 2 Super Bowls. And I don't say Nick Foles is better than Tom Brady because you might, because you're an Eagles fan, but I don't.
I don't think he's saying that. If you took Super Bowls out of it, just for strictly the evaluation of the greatest, do you think Tom would still be up there?
Oh yeah,
I do. Right?
I would not put him apart. I judge it on consistency.
So well.
I week to week consistency is what measures greatness to me the most, and I think Peyton Manning's the most consistently great quarterback of all time. At his height, I often say nobody's played the position at a higher level than Aaron Rodgers. So it depends on your sort of scale. But yeah, to the average fan, you win a bunch of Super Bowls, you're the best. And my always thing is, if you're in the conversation, you're good. If you're in the conversation to be the best of all time, that's good enough. Tom's in that conversation.
No doubt. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts. Playoff football Friday. Eagles, 49ers in Philly for Wildcard weekend. Kyle Shanahan versus Vic Fangio. Good storyline, I think. Good game this weekend. Your final thoughts here on a Football Friday.
Yeah, knock down the pin, man. That's all you got to do. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Knock it down. And I think they will knock it down.
Me too. We will see how it goes. Johnny Mac, good show, man. I will talk to you on Sunday for the game. And I know you're heading down there, obviously, today for the NovaCare, right? We got a regular Friday for a game week.
Yep. Nick Sirianni, if you want to listen to it, which probably most people don't, it'll be about noonish. We'll talk to the head coach.
Nick Sirianni. Yeah, he didn't say much. I don't think he'll say much today. John, good stuff, brother. I'll talk to you on Sunday.
All right. See y'all.
All right, thanks, J Mac. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen, joining us right here on Birds 365. Good show today, everybody. Playoff week. I'll sit here and talk about the problems with Les and John, but I think the Eagles are going to win the game. All right, that's just the reality of the situation. I don't think they're losing this playoff game. Even the biggest doubters this year, and I've been in your camp here and there. Even the biggest doubters, Catch, I know you're not a Patullo guy. Curtis, underdog. Izzy B appears to be not a believer. Do most of you still believe we're going to win the game? I think we're going to win the game. We're winning this game. Yeah, Morty, we're winning the ball game. MV Patula. Nad, good to have you in here, my friend. Nad, you guys are cooked. All right? You guys are cooked. Here's Kimberly. Kimberly, I will address this as I did earlier in the show today. Yes, I got to eat some crow on Carson Beck. What a great performance for him last night. Big and clutch moments, big drive late in the game, multiple drives in that game of 13-plus plays. I mean, are you kidding me? 88 plays of offense out there. Got to give a lot of credit to that running back who ran the ball hard and just picked up good yards. I mean, it almost felt like every time he ran the ball on first down, Kimberly, 5-6 yards. And not easy 5-6 yards, you know. But I thought Carson Beck played well in that football game. I thought the running back had a great game. I absolutely love that rookie, man. Freshman. That kid can flat out play. What's that guy's name? Malachi Toney. That dude is a beast. And then Keelan Marion obviously had some big plays in that game. I thought a very nice job for Cristobal. I liked the way he answered in the post game stuff. He was on with Scott Van Pelt. I was up late last night watching it. I love the big moments. One of the things I actually miss from doing like post games is I don't get to watch the immediate aftermath of a game, the highlight. You know what I mean? When people do the recap stuff like that, I've always loved that stuff. In college, I used to fall asleep to Scott Van Pelt at night. My roommate would be like, how the fuck do you watch TV all through the night? I'm like, I don't watch it. It's just on. I just want to hear what's going on in the sports world. Yeah, that's because you're an Ohio State fan, Deshae. Go home. Go home, Deshae. You Ohio. Nobody is more insufferable. People used to say Alabama fans are annoying. Nobody's more insufferable than an Ohio State fan. Oh, my gosh. Ohio State fans are truly insufferable people. They are insufferable people. Oh, my gosh, Deshae. Cristobal. Cristobal's playing in the national championship. I mean, come on. Give him credit. Well done by him. And I like the way he said, man, I don't like when everybody puts a spotlight on me. I'm an offensive lineman at heart, he said. Everybody here deserves a lot of credit. I think he's coached that team well, man. That was a physical team last night. I thought they deserve a lot of credit. I texted Sills. I said, man, that's a good win for you guys, man. That's a good freaking win for you guys. All right? That's a good win. Physical win. I thought Carson Beck really showed up. He had the one pick. The pick wasn't even his fault. I mean, you can maybe argue, throw it back across his body a little bit, got tipped up at the line, but trying to make a play, I got no problem with that. Malachi Toney, that kid is freaking electric, dude. That kid is freaking electric. Catch says some dirty. Catch, it's football. I mean, what are you gonna? What are we gonna do? Go and play table tennis? It's fucking football. Some dirty plays. Why? Because somebody hit somebody 2 seconds after a whistle? Come on. Thought some of those calls on the Canes were bullshit. I thought some of those Canes calls were bullshit. I mean, the targeting call, well, it was targeting because of the way it played, but anybody who saw the play and Catch, I knew you were going there, helmet to helmet. The guy's moving. I mean, it's fucking physics. The guy's moving this way across the field. He's running across the field like this. He catches the ball in motion, moving this way. So when the defender goes to make a hit and the guy's moving this way, the helmet would have hit the side of him. But because he's moving this way, the helmets collide. I mean, that was not a intentionally dirty hit. Helmet to helmet. Come on, catch. That was not an intentionally dirty hit. That was not a guy who lowered the crown of his helmet and said, let me jam it into his head. It was an unfortunate football play. I mean, come on. And then at the point, the guy's moving this way. The guy's running this way. One guy's going this way. Doop. That was not an intentionally dirty play. The one after that, though, where he was on the ground and number 11 like pounds into him, I'm like, that guy was just trying to get a hit in. That's pretty funny. That's football. You don't want to see physicality, then don't watch football. I don't know what to tell you. Irving makes me not like. You know what I love about Irving is that he knows everybody's gonna cry like this. I love shit like that. Everybody cry. And I saw RMP in here. Oh my God, did anybody know Michael Irvin? Good. If I'm a Miami guy, I love that Michael Irvin is making everybody say that. Good. Hate us. That's the Miami mantra. That's who they were. That's who they built their team around. That's who they were when they were a dominant team in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, you name it. They're the team that's widely hated, and they welcome that. They welcome that. Good win for Miami, though, man. I've always said since working with Sills, you know, Bama will always be my squad, but I'll root for Miami for Sills. You know, that was a good win for the Canes last night. So if you're a Canes fan out there, well done by you guys. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Canes to win it all. I want to see the Canes win it all. Now, I think it's going to be a tough matchup. I think Indiana wins tonight. I mean, that Signetti, he's got that team playing really freaking well, man. Really freaking well. So. Oh, Curtis, that's egregious. This is such a shitty take. Curtis says, Z, the odds of flipping heads 4 times in a row is 6.25%. Curtis, really? You think we're flipping for heads or tails in the football game? I mean, Curtis, we got one of the better defenses in football. You're not flipping heads or tails when you have a defense that's that good, dude. I'm sorry. That's just not – that's not the truth of the matter. 50-50. Flip. Is that what's happening, Curtis? Really? You don't even believe that, Curtis. I know you, Curtis. You're too smart to believe that. You don't even believe that shit. Does the offense keep teams in games more? Absolutely. Absolutely. And nobody can score points on the defense, so we're in every game. Welcome to football. Curtis, are you of the belief that more football games end, you know, with 7-digit wins or double-digit wins than not? Look at the average NFL margin for victory. Look at the average NFL margin for victory. Let's look it up. Average NFL game margin for victory. Holy shit, is this right? Most common margin is 3 points, 15% of games. So 50-50. Curtis. 50-50, Curtis. All right, Curtis. You clearly are black-pilled. This dude, Curtis. Curtis, you're fucking miserable. You make John McMullen look like a happy-go-lucky guy. Curtis, dude, aren't you in your 30s? I mean, Curtis, come on, man. You got a long way to go until you can be this miserable. I try and remind myself of that sometimes. Yeah, I know I can be miserable too here and there, but oh gosh, my headache. I got such a bad headache right now. It's because I was up till 2 a.m. You know what I was watching last night? I've been infatuated with the Philadelphia crime family. I love that shit. I don't know why I do, but I'm so fascinated by it. So I've been reading up on all these dudes, Stanford and, you know, Nicky Scarfo, Joey Merlino. Well, Sopranos has always been my favorite show, Sig, so I've always loved that stuff. Say, you never watched The Sopranos? Dude, I'm not the TV guy or the movie. Oh, for the 8th time. Okay. I was about to say, Sig, that's insane, bro. All right, for the 8th time. All right. I got you. I got you. Same, Keese. I love mobster shit too, dude. In another life, Keese, maybe I'd have been a mobster. I watched it. I saw it. Gary says there's a Netflix doc. Yeah, and then I listened to Skinny Joey. Yeah, I've been to Skinny Joey's. I love Skinny Joey. Skinny Joey's a badass motherfucker, dude. Whatever your opinion is of him, I don't care. He's a badass dude. All right. Gary, I listened to his podcast after it, though. He kind of debunks a lot of it. He really does. I mean, it's a lot. I don't know how much of it is true. And he brings up a good point about these rats. He's like, these people, that they're facing life in prison, and all they have to do is give a story about Joey Merlino, and you're out of prison. It's like a get out of jail free card, It's like a get out of jail free card. The thing I respect about Joey is, like, if you're going to do it, like, if you're going to be in the life, if you're going to fucking do it, do it. Don't be a rat. You went into the life. You played with fire. Now you get burnt and you want to be a rat? The fuck? So I'm with Skinny Joey. No rats. I hate rats. All right? I don't side with rats. So. But it is interesting. It is interesting shit. I did see that, Steven. I saw that yesterday. What a weird ass dude. What a weird ass dude. Yeah, Nicky Scarfo, he was he really ramped up the murdering and stuff. Bald, you got me wrong, bro. You got me way wrong. I'm no rat and I'm no liar. I'm no rat. No way. I got enough shit in my life. Believe me, I've been in a very lesser way, in a very smaller degree. I have my reason for disliking rats. All right. I'm the bad guy. All right. I'm the bad guy now. That's pretty funny. Z breaks when the detectives get a McDonald's. I don't even like McDonald's. I haven't eaten McDonald's in fucking 10 years. I'll tell you something. You want to hear something about mob life? I went to St. Joe's Prep. Kid in my grade, and I was too naive at the time to really like understand it. Kid in my grade's father had just got convicted, went to prison when we were freshmen. His father went to prison when we were freshmen. He was a mobster, Philly mobster, working with he worked in the same family. I'm not a friend. I don't like France. I don't like him as much, Daz. I know. Brandon, thanks. Brandon says you can't be a rat. That only applies to people. Oh, Brandon, breaking news. I'm not a part of the Philadelphia crime family. Oh, man, Brandon. Oh, thank you, Brandon. Thank you, brother. What would we do without you here if you couldn't bring the truth? I'm more of a Skinny Joey guy. I like Skinny Joey, man. I subscribe to his Patreon. I listen to all his shit. I listened to him last night on I forget what it was. I'm not trying to make a case that he's a good dude, but I'm just saying he's real. I respect that. No. All right, Keese, enough. Keese, enough. Sammy the Bull. Look at all you guys with all these theories. Oh, Catch, go fucking cry more about Michael Irvin. I mean, Catch, you got more. Catch, you cry about more shit than anybody. Cry about John. Cry about Zander. Cry about the channel. Cry about Patullo. Cry about Nick. Cry about Michael Irvin. I mean, Catch, holy shit, dude. You cry more than McMullen. I mean, good night. This guy cries more than McMullen. Yeah, Francesi's a rat. He's a rat, Sig. How could I respect it? That's funny. Anybody got a good mobster thing to follow? And then now Catch takes personal shot. I know, Catch. All right, Buttercup. I know. It's funny, Catch, because your perspective is actually the opposite of what the truth is. But you don't know what the truth is. So, you just speak like you do. Mr. Know-It-All. The more Catch comments in this chat, the more I think he's a total dumbass. The real conspiracy is Bob got a hold of Zander and did something. No, it's not true. All right. It's not true. Bob doesn't get to me. I just think the Eagles are going to win. I just think the Eagles are going to win in the playoffs. I do. They've won a lot in the playoffs. They're in a good spot. They got a great defense. And the NFC is not that good. The NFC is not that good. I mean, the best team in the NFC right now is quarterbacked by Sam Darnold. I mean, does anybody really feel like the Eagles can't make a run? Come on. Here's Steven, my boy Steven. Z, I got a feeling this team is going on a run. Offense is obviously not great, but this defense is suffocating. I agree, Steven. I agree, brother. I agree. We'll see what happens. All right? We'll see. But I agree with you about the defense for sure. I'm with Z's pot. It's not even. I'm not even trying to be pot. Brandon, I always tell you what I feel. I don't feel like the team is going to lose in the playoffs right now. I don't. Do I think the offense is good? No, I don't. I don't. Do I think Kevin Patullo is good? No, I don't. Do I think the team is going to lose in round one of the playoffs? Definitely not. Yep, I agree with this, Morty. And I think Hurts is going to. I think you're going to see a different Hurts in that he uses his legs. He's, that's going to be huge. Third downs. It's going to be huge. So keep an eye on that for sure. But Curtis says, I understand the perspective. If the offense would just get to mediocre, we can go all the way with the D. Well, Curtis, what do you make of how John brings up some of the advanced metrics and says the offense isn't as bad as like what the total offense says? I don't know. I mean, I don't really buy them that much. Like John's like, they're the 12th offense by EPA. I'm like, they're not the 12th best offense in football. But I guess maybe it would shed light that they're not as bad as we think, potentially. Could that be a possibility? Yeah, I do. I think that could be a possibility. Exactly, Gary. Agreed. J-Mac is not appreciated. Yeah, but it's 30%. I mean, there is still another 70% of the time where they don't go 3 and out. They don't pass the smell test, though, Z. Well, Chris, I agree with you, dude. I agree. You can skew data. Jamin, that is so true. Data can always be skewed. Here's Jose says, well, my eyes EPA statistics say the offense stinks and gets bailed by a great coach defense. Jose, I think we got a similar eye test. All right. My eyes EPA. I like that. John is a big Bears hater. It's pretty funny. He just can't get on board with the Bears. I think Ben Johnson's phenomenal. Ben Johnson's phenomenal. It's all the chances we give teams in the fourth quarter that drive me crazy. We can't even kill clock. Well, they go into this curse. It's because we always take the lead. Like, we very rarely play from behind. How many games this year have we played from behind? The Rams game, right? Is that the game we came back? The Rams game? Or was that the Bucs game? No, it was the Rams game. Bucs game is when we went cold and we let them back in, right? I don't know. I mixed those two up because one of them you came back, one of them you let them come back. Morty, great point. Remember, 98% of the guys running out of that tunnel have been here before, and many have championship pedigree. I said this yesterday. I mean, for all the criticism that many people will give Jalen Hurts, how many quarterbacks have 6 playoff wins in 4 years starting? I mean, that's 9 playoff games in 4 years. He's averaging 2.5 playoff games a year. I mean, folks, he's almost averaging an NFC championship appearance. That's what Jalen Hurts' career. But believe me, I'm not blind to what some of the issues have been on the offense this year. I don't think they don't exist. I'm just saying this team has had the track record of this team in these moments is overwhelmingly good compared to basically every other team out there, maybe with the exception of the Chiefs, who went to 9 straight playoffs. What's Patrick Mahomes' playoff record? Because he's probably the only other one that's like got it crazy. Holy shit. Don't look it up. Can anybody guess what Patrick Mahomes' playoff record is? Holy shit. Holy shit, man. Golly. Bald Eagles nails it. Golly. 17-4. Yo, that is crazy. That is crazy. 17-4 in the playoffs? Are you kidding me? Guys, let's do this together. Let's do this together. Let's do this together. All right, 17-4 for Mahomes. Ready? Tom Brady, playoff record. 35-13. So those are your two. When you wonder why people say Mahomes is on a Brady trajectory, he is. Ready? This is where it gets fun. Peyton Manning, playoff record. 14-13. Peyton Manning's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all times. Well, it's a team game, but it's still, I do find playoff records to be meaningful. Who else? Joe Montana's is probably pretty good. 16-7. 16-7. Who else do we want to look up? Matthew Stafford. 5-5. Look up Aaron Rodgers. 12-10. Like most dudes hover around 500. Josh Allen's a good one. Give me some names. I'll look them up for you guys. 7-6, Josh Allen is. Terry Bradshaw, 14-5. Damn, that's impressive. Brett Favre's an interesting one. 13-11. I'm telling you, most dudes hover around 500. Peyton Manning was damn near 500. Lamar Jackson, 3-5. Who else? Who else is in the league that everybody? Joe Burrow might be okay because he went to the Super Bowl that one year. 5-2, yet he never goes back after that. He hasn't gone back much after that. I did Lamar. I did Aaron. Troy Aikman's is probably pretty damn good. Ah, shoot, I spelled it wrong. 11-5, pretty good for Troy. Stafford, I did. He was 5-5. Oh, I agree. Bold, I agree. I'm not saying it's not. People need to realize a 500 record in the playoffs is good. No, I agree. That's kind of my point here, Bald. It's kind of my point is that Jalen is I mean, to be 6-3 in 4 years is pretty impressive. I mean, Stafford's been in the league how many years? He's 5-5. He's played one more playoff game than Hurts. Dak Prescott, I mean, I give him a lot of credit for being a great quarterback. Dak Prescott's got 2 playoff wins in 10 years. He had 3 number 1 offenses. I don't want to hear that that his team hasn't been good enough. I don't know why that just stopped sharing. McNabb, I think he was like 10-7 or something like that. McNabb playoff record. Let me look that up. 9-7. That's kind of what I thought. Russ, 9-8. I mean, it's Drew Brees. That'd be a good one. 9-9. Drew Brees, 9-9 in the playoffs. Let me see if I can share this back up. I don't know why it stopped sharing. John Elway. Elway was 14-8. That's pretty good. Darnold. I think Darnold's like 0-2, isn't he? Let's look it up. Sam Darnold. 0-1. Let's look at Brock Purdy. 4-2. Let's look up. We already looked up Stafford. Jordan Love. Who else is in the playoffs this year that I'm missing? 1-2. Who am I missing? Caleb Williams is 0-0, obviously. Elway is probably a GOAT. I wouldn't know if he's the GOAT. But so, yeah, I got confidence that the Eagles are going to keep winning. They got a great defense. You know, Hurts loves to play great in big games. That's kind of been his thing, and I think that's obviously a very positive thing versus Dak, who plays great in the regular season and struggles when the playoffs come. You know, obviously a valid knock on him. So I don't think I got drunk confidence. I really don't. Here's B. Preston. Happy Football Friday, Z. Should be a great performance from the Birds on Sunday. I got 27-9. Holy shit. A sack from JP and a Bowen pick or forced fumble. I do like the pick prediction. I got a pick too. I got a Purdy airmail over the middle or a tip ball. That's what I got. I got a Purdy airmail or tipped ball. That's what I'm thinking. Chester says there's no. I think we you should be able to on this defense, but I don't have that type of confidence in the offense. They haven't been able to do that much, you know. I don't know about first drive. Jim Kelly played 2 seasons of playoff games without a ring. Brutal. Dude, what's his playoff record? That's a good one. Jim Kelly playoff record. 9-8. 9-8. Curtis, I kind of do. Dude, some of the clips I've seen of Cam Jurgens are almost not believable. Some of the Cam Jurgens clips I see are like literally almost not believable. Gary, I'm doing that for you. Joe Flacco, 10-6. Flacco, baby. Flacco, baby. 4 Super Bowls in a row is just insane. Cam, you know, I just don't like. He's just too slow now. You know, I mean, he looks up and the defensive lineman's by him. DT's at Hurts. DT's already getting to Hurts, and Cam Jurgens looks up. Yo, dude, the guy's fucking been by you for 2 seconds. Steven, thank you for remembering. A lot of people got upset with me in the summer. That was my one concern in the summer was Cam Jurgens. One of my concerns in the summer was Cam Jurgens. Thank you for remembering, Steven. That hasn't turned out to be too good. Too much beef jerky. Maybe not enough, Gary. Or maybe he needs more milk or something. You know, drink more milk or something. I don't know. I mean, you got Daz, you might want him bench, but you also understand why that's not happening, right? You also understand why that's not happening, right? They just gave the guy 4 years, $68 million. Race, what kind? You didn't get the beef jerky, did you? You can't be buying beef jerky when he's like one of the worst centers in football this year. I mean, come on. Hopefully not beef jerky. Or Cam jerky, whatever the hell it's called. What does he call it? What does he call it? Did anybody get the Cooper DeJean cereal? Was it any good? Or you guys all just got like staring at it every day? You guys got it like sitting there like it's a collector's item, a box of freaking cereal. BGG, I know you got it. I saw you posted it. All you nerds looking at the Cooper DeJean cereal every day. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you guys. I'm just messing. All right. I'm just messing with you guys. Z, when do you expect a Hurts extension? Well, probably this summer if it's coming. If they're going to do it, it's going to be this summer. Oh, gosh. Brandon Lewis scalped 30 of them. I got 2 boxes of Cooper's Crunch. It's a Captain Crunch berry clone. You know, Captain Crunch has always been mediocre at best. Cereal wore off quick. I ate that shit when I was young. And now I'm like, I used to joke with my mom. You wonder why I didn't pay attention in school when I was a kid. You fucking fed me a bowl of sugar in the morning. That was before my mom had her health scare. Then we became a much more healthy family, food wise. Eating well goes a long way. I'll tell you that much. Captain Crunch. Oh my gosh, Nyla. Top 5? That's egregious. Yeah, cereal's terrible for you. It's like high fructose corn syrup and sugar and nothing else good. Nothing else good. But all right, how's everybody feeling? What's everybody's score prediction for the playoff game this weekend? Let me get some score predictions in the chat. Yeah, I'm not buying the Cooper DeJean, Nikki Bello rumors either. I love milk. I've always loved milk. Pause. Milk, nothing like a nice glass. I still drink glasses of milk. You know what's funny about milk? I'll randomly get like a craving for milk. Get out of bed at like 11:30, midnight. Fucking pour a glass of milk like this. It's always like one chug too. It's not like you don't sit there and like sip a glass of milk. You just like go. Here comes everybody in the chat. Pause. Oh, Bunch of 2-year-olds in this chat. Chocolate milk is fire. Fucking love chocolate milk. Lizzle. B. Lizzle, I knew you were showing up. Who is that? Rick Ross in your fucking profile picture? Deshay. That's disgusting. I'm sure you think it is. Not gonna lie, that's pretty odd. Good for you, Dro. I'm sure you're fucking odd too, my guy. Gary says 34-10. I thought Zander was talking about snow bunnies. LMAO. 17-9. 27-16. I got 20. What did I put? 23-16? I think that's what I put. 23-16. Nothing wrong with a little snow bunnies. That's pretty funny. That's funny as shit. Keith, I could have guessed that, dude. I could have guessed that. You guys are goofy. Oh, that's funny. I'm finding more. Let me find more scores. Chris says 24-10. 13-10 Eagles. Keith says Keith, you've been off your rocker for like 6 weeks, dude. 16-9 Eagles. I haven't drank. Deshay, you're on like a run of awful takes. That's the Ohio State fan in you. You're seething that Miami won last night. You guys are seething that Miami won. Steven says, Z, what did you watch when you were younger? I say this all the time, Steven. I was not the TV kid, brother. Never have been, never will be. When I was young, I used to get on my big gift one year was a bike. I used to use my brother's hand-me-down bike. I never wore training wheels once in my life. My brother, it was a funny story. My brother's 2 years older than me. He's like 4 years old. He's on his training wheels. I'm 2. My dad gets me a bike. I'm like, yeah, take the training wheels off. I get on my bike. Literally, first time my brother's biking around the driveway in his training wheels. First child. My parents' first child, biking around. I get on my bike. No training wheels. Boom, I zoom right by him. So my big gift one year, though, was a Harrow bike. And where I grew up near Glenside. I grew up in Jenkintown, Montgomery County. And I went to grade school in Glenside. Me and all my buddies, my boy Frankie, Sig Lord knows my boy Frankie. I'd bike over to Frankie's house or anyone else. Pat, Jake, a bunch of my boys from grade school. Shit, I haven't talked to a lot. I talk to Frankie all the time still. I don't talk to many of the other guys, but I would leave in the morning, especially on the weekends. Fridays never came home after school. Went out, biked with my boy, hung out. My parents weren't strict, but my parents were smart, if that makes sense. They weren't strict. They let me live and experience shit, good and bad. I did not have strict parents. But not like, I also didn't have parents that were like naive to stupidity, My dad's saying whenever I left the house was this: Zander, I look back at him, he say, no bullshit. That's what he said to me. No bullshit. And I knew what that meant. But I'd bike. I got I wish I had a picture of it. I think I might still have it in my parents' garage. I don't think so. I got my big gift one year was a bike, a Harrow bike. It was red. I loved this bike. I freaking loved this bike, dude. And it had black tires on it. And I bring it right to the bike shop. I scrounged out. I used to save change when I was a kid because at the TD Bank by my house, they had like a thing you dump the change in and they'll give you cash. So I would always like steal change from my parent. Like if my dad had like change in a cup holder of the car or whatever, or I went to Catholic school. You buy pretzels. They were $0.25 a pop. So we always needed change. I always kept change. So I went up, I poured my change jar into the thing at TD Bank. I think I got like 40 or 50 bucks. And I went in, used all the money I saved, and I put red tires on my red Harrow bike. So I had a full red Harrow BMX bike. And I put red tires on the thing, fully red tires. And then I would drive that thing around Glenside like it was my job, man. That's what I did. I did not watch TV. The only show I really remember watching a lot as a kid was what's it called? Rocket League? No, what's that damn show called? Yeah, Rocket League? No, not Rocket League. That's a stupid game. What's the show called? Rocket Power. That's it. Rocket Power. Thank you, Keese. Yeah, I loved Rocket Power. Woogity, woogity, woogity. That was it, man. You know what's funny? You guys want to hear a funny story? I was at my I guess my future in-laws' house, and they're all cartoon people when they were kids. Shows the difference though. They were all cartoon people. I was not addicted to TV. My mom would have to beg me to just stay in the house and watch TV. But can't you just relax and watch TV? Everybody else, all the other kids are watching TV. I'm like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to relax. I don't want to sit down. I'm at this dinner with my future in-laws, and we're talking. Somehow the conversation of what did you watch when you were a kid came up, and I say Rocket Power, and they all look at me like I have fucking 12 heads. They're like, Rocket Power? What is Rocket Power? I'm like, you guys are cartoon people, and you don't know what Rocket Power is? Man, you got bad taste in cartoons. You got bad taste in cartoons. That's the only cartoon. Rocket Power is goated. Nah, not much video games, bro. I mean, here and there. It was like my mom hated video games. My mom didn't care much about TV. She hated video games for some reason. So I think I got like a Xbox 360, like way later than most people got them. And I played it, and then I'm like, I'm bored of this. I would play Xbox at my buddy Frankie's house. We would go, Sig Lord, we would get out of school at 3:30 in grade school. And I went to St. Luke's in Glenside. And we would leave St. Luke's. I'd walk right to Frankie's house, and we'd load up 2K. We'd play 2K. Frankie loves 2K. Frankie's a basketball guy. Frankie's one of my real, true friends in life. You know how you have friends people you meet in, every, area of your life or, phase of your life, and only a couple of them, if a couple. For me, I'm close-knit type of guy. I need my fam. I don't need much else. He's the one dude, though, man. No matter what phase of my life, me and Frankie talk all the time. And Chuck, my high school or my college roommate. Chuck and Frankie. There's my two boys from the youth days. Pretty funny. Speed Racer. I don't know if I recall that one. GTA. GTA I'll rip. I played a lot of GTA. Most of my video games were played at my friend's house. I was damn good at 2K. Oh, yeah, Sig, I think his brother Joe used to be good at that, didn't he? Didn't Joe used to be good at that? Sig? When is 6 coming out? I might have to get a game. I might have to load up the game system to get 6. When is GTA 6 coming out? Oh, 2K was fire, especially back then. You know who my guy was in 2K back in the day? I don't know how old I was. He was young in the league at the time. Damian Lillard. Oh, man, I could cook with Damian Lillard. I could absolutely cook with Damian Lillard. GTA 6 keeps getting delayed. Well, why is it so hard for them to put out a game? Yeah, Frankie loved 2K, Sig. They pushed it back to 27. Let me look it up. GTA 6 release. It says November 19th. Oh, delayed. It says November 19th, 2026. Is that not true? Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I've seen the memes. I know that, Chris. What's it been, 10 years? I was in high school when GTA 5 came out. Right? When did GTA 5 release? I graduated high school, 2016, I think? GTA 5 release date. Yeah, it came out. I was a sophomore in high school. It's going to GTA 6 because the AI in it is so incredible. Watch a video about it. It's going to be awesome. Send me a Sig. I'll watch it. That's a game I'll buy and play for a little bit. And then I'll probably get bored of it and never play it again. But I'll the initial dopamine hit I'll take. I'll take the initial dopamine hit from GTA. Does anybody else feel like Jalen Hurts is going to ball out this weekend? Anybody else have that? Curtis, you don't have to answer. Curtis and Brandon, you don't have to answer. I feel like Jalen Hurts is about to have his best game of the year this weekend. Kimberly later. Appreciate you being here. Against this defense, of course. Curtis, LMAO. He's going to have a big game. Resident Evil, I don't know what that is. Not Hurts season says he's going to drop his nuts on all the haters. Catch says, depends if I forgot to include that in the list of shit you bitch about. If 81 is blocking. I do agree with you on that, Catch. Why the guy can't block. Why do they keep making him block? It's not working. And here's Brandon. Hurts is going to go off for 130. Brandon's another Jalen guy. Or Jalen hater. Z, I've drank a lot of hopium. I'm ready to become a Jalen for the playoffs. Me too. Philly Todd. Me too, man. Philly. The difference, though, there is that it's not becoming a Jalen off of false premises. Like Jalen has proven to Eagles fans everywhere that they should trust him in big moments. I'm not saying every big moment. Nobody plays great in every fucking big moment. All right? Get that out of your head. That doesn't mean Big Mike, you always call me out on that shit. Big Mike, it takes one to know one, I guess. But Jalen has given us enough proof, man. He played so damn good in 2 Super Bowls. Oh, here's Ted Hill. He's one of the classic 49er guys who shows up randomly, shits on the chat, and leaves. It's pretty funny. You little birds really think you're going to beat my Niners? Your Niners stink, Ted Hill. Now, your offense is good, but you're not doing shit on our defense. Here's Island. There's no excuse not to, but I don't love the vibes going in right now. What do you mean the vibes? What is this, a video game? Vibes. What do you mean? Fitness says if they get 24 or more points, yeah, I agree. That's my number 2. I think 21 would be good too. I do. I think he runs up their front and down their back. Wow. That's like a good comment and a Diddy comment at the same time. Somehow. I don't know how, but it is. Playoff Jalen comes out. That MFer hates to lose. Yes, he does. I love that about him. B. Lizzle is loving the show today. These jokes write themselves. B. Lizzle and his Diddy detector is going off like crazy over there. Is that Rick Ross in the profile picture? Am I tripping? Looks like fucking Rick Ross. Not fat enough, though. Underdog, are you here? Steven says, Z, that Underdog dude is a black. I love Underdog. I don't care. Steven, it doesn't bother me when people have way different opinions than me. It doesn't bother me. It shouldn't bother I don't know why it bothers anybody. I think Underdog's smart, dude. Z, if we do lose, you are on board with saying screw continuity and fire K? Yeah, definitely. What's the point of running it? What does continuity mean if your guy's a stiff? Continuity of sucking ass? Oh, great. I don't think anybody wants continuity of that. Curtis, like if I saw things that showed he was growing, that's why I actually, I know I chirped Catch earlier, but that's why I appreciate his one comment about like Calcaterra. It's like, you're not, what are you showing that you're improving or evolving or learning from? You still got Calcaterra blocking at the end of the year. The guy can't block. Criminy. So, who knows? I want to watch some mobster shit. Anybody got some good mobster shit to watch? I want real shit, though. Don't give me the movie if it's fake. If the movie's based on a real story, I'm in. If it's not, I want some real shit. I like what happened in the real world. Anybody got some? Is that now Cocaine Cowboy? Isn't that like a fake TV show with a script? I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that. Someone give me some good mob stuff to watch. YouTube, dude, I've been on a YouTube rabbit hole on it for a month. Steven D'Angelo, what? You haven't seen Godfather, Sopranos, Scarface, Goodfellas? Dude, these are like the only movies worth seeing. Dude, I'm like the epitome of a not movie guy. They're like literally the number one movies that are worth seeing. And dude, if you haven't seen Sopranos, you need to start Sopranos tonight. Like Steven, you might need to watch Sopranos instead of the Eagles game on Sunday. That's how important Sopranos is. Sopranos is the greatest TV show ever made. I freaking love The Sopranos. I'm with Sig. I might start it for the 10th time. When the season ends, I might start it for the 10th time. I've seen some of The Wire, Curtis. I never finished. I know that's another good show that I never got all the way through. I think that my attention span got to me, Curtis. When I got to The Wire, I was kind of done with TV. Agreed, Sid. Gandolfini, it's a shame he died, man. What a great performance is right. Steven, Sopranos first, dude. And if you want my favorite, my Godfather's good. Goodfellas is amazing. I love Scarface. Always will. Steven, you can be a sitcom guy and still watch the other stuff. Steven, you need to watch Sopranos. I'm telling you right now, you'll be addicted. Sopranos is so fire. Animal Kingdom, nope. Cocaine Cowboys, nope. Entourage, love Entourage. Entourage is good. Steven, take my word for it. Trust me. Trust me. Sopranos is legendary. True Romance is a great mob movie. Cocaine Cow. Oh, I thought Keith said it wasn't real. Cocaine Cowboys. I thought he said that was fake. If you want my personal favorite of the mob movies is probably Scarface. Probably Scarface. I know it's not the best, but I do love it. I think I'm biased to that because that was like the first one I watched. Ooh, you got a mob book? I was looking up mob books because I've been reading a lot recently. What's it called? Breaking the Mob? Oh, it's about the Philly. I like the New York mob too, but the Philly mob is interesting because I'm in Philly. Yeah, I like what happened in the city. I'll read that. I'll add that to the list. Sports, sitcom, and anime. I've never watched a single second of anime in my life. Literally, I have never seen a singular second of anime. I don't know a fucking lick about anime. I've always thought it was kind of goofy. That's just my personal opinion. To each his own. I don't know anything about it, though. Oh, Keith, I know that movie. That movie's fire. Frank Lucas. That's a good movie. What's the best scene of that movie? You all know. You all know. Toonami? What? No, I never seen Toonami. Toonami. It doesn't sound like something I'd be interested in. I can't lie to you. Catch, no comment. Yeah, I guess it's not a mob movie. It's like a similar. You get what I'm saying, Eagle Nest. It's like a similar category. It's a similar category. You know, it's a crime film, I guess you could call it. Fucking snitch, rat. Shout out to the guy who said, Zander, you can't be a rat. You're not in the mob. Oh, thanks, dude. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Toonami. What the hell is Toonami? Let me type this in. Toonami? Never heard of Toonami in my life. I've literally never even heard that name. Toonami? I have no clue what this is. I have legitimately never even seen this. This has never even been on my feed. I don't know. That's just not my thing. Yeah, Skinny Joey's is fired. The cheesesteaks are incredible, dude. They really are. I'm not even just saying that. They're really good cheesesteaks. Seed of the Versa roll. Oh, they're good as shit, dude. I talked to Little Snuff, too. Little Snuff's cool guy. Little Snuff's cool dude. Adoree Jackson's finna get attacked. With who, though? No sleep? They don't got many receivers, dude. If it's anime, Steven, you can take it to the bank, then I'm not going to watch it. I don't got any time for anime. I don't got any time for the shit I got to do as is. Niners are very limited. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Good show today. Sorry I was distracted on 40 different things on Zander time, but sometimes that's what happens. All right, sometimes that's what happens. All right. So I think the Eagles are in a good spot. I think they win the game this weekend. I think they not easily win it, but I think they win it handily. I think their defense manages the game well. I think Jalen Hurts has one of his better games of the year. You know, protect the football, make plays when you need to make plays, pick up third downs with the legs if you need to. You know, so I think the Eagles are in a good spot. I really do. I think I think Jalen's going to have a big game. I think M. Reyes is going to have a good weekend. Big Mike, that's funny. But all right, guys. Come on. Come on. Catch. It's not time to black pill, catch. Catch. It's no time to black pill, catch. If they lose, I would imagine that Catch will be in here saying, I told you, idiots. They can't win with Petulo. You might be right. Petulo might be a stiff. Actually, he's not might be. I think we've seen enough now. Here's Kevin. GZ. I had time to go to do the dishes, go shopping, and you were still talking. Do the dishes. I don't think I've ever done a dish in my life. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Relax. You guys get so butthurt when I say shit like that. It's so funny. Yeah, dishes aren't my thing, Kev. Enjoy. Dishes aren't my thing. All right. Big Mike, I don't think I've said enough goodbyes yet. 24-20 Birds. Eagles punt 5 times in the fourth, and the defense holds 5 times. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Kev, everybody tells me that. I don't think that's going to be true. Dishes and sandwich making are not for men. That's pretty funny, Kev. I would agree with you. And here come Italian goodbye. Keith, that's very true. We got them in my family too, big time. All right. Mary G's going to have so many chores. How about make money? Put a roof over the head, put food on the table. How's that? How's that for chores? Make a living. All right. Kev, good comment. I'll make sure I get a state of the art. State of the art. Okay. No, he's not rubbing off on me. I got my own opinions. All right. Peace, everybody. Love all you guys. Not all of you. Some of you. Hit the like button. Bird's going to get the win. Jalen's going to dominate. Kevin Petulo is going to call his best game. Let's see what happens. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.